Hello, welcome to the Critical Obsession podcast. My name is Mirella.
And I'm Zoe.
And today we're going to watch and talk about episode 6 of Vice Versa.
Yep, that's the one.
Laughing because just some moments ago I said 7 instead of 6.
Yeah. She's obviously excited for episode 7. It's funny too because you said earlier about you're excited to record. Is that because you had episode 7 in mind? Had you completely forgotten about episode 6?
No, I've been looking forward. I've been looking forward to episode 6. I love it. I remember sending you several emotional voice messages when I was watching this episode, and with very different attitudes. So this is going to be fun.
Well, I don't know. See, I don't believe you now because you tried to skip straight to 7. So, like, how important is episode 6 to you, really?
Well, you'll see. You'll see. I was editing today for episode 6 of Not Me, so everything got mixed up in my head.
Yeah. Well, you're not the only one who was confused. Before we started, I was looking at my notes and I thought I was in our Not Me notes section because I had gun written there, and I was like, wait, I thought I went into Vice Versa. And I had, because he was just in last episode.
Everything is connected.
It's a day of confusion. So, anyway. Should we watch part 6 then? Is there anything that you're expecting me to be really excited about in this first part, or is it just an overall feel that Zoe, the whole thing?
I really don't know how to respond to this question because you're going to have a reaction and I don't want to spoil it, so I think we should go and watch it.
Okay. I'm scared because you're very excited. I hope I have the appropriate reaction. You guys you could see like the live breaking of hearts here right now. Anyway.
All right. Let's go.
All right, let's go check it out.
So do you remember what you just watched?
I was just scrolling through my notes trying to find the beginning. I'm like, where's the beginning? Like, I wrote more than I thought I did. I forgot already. Not what happened, but like what I wrote about what happened.
The most beginning of the beginning is other romantic lines.
Oh, like what was on last week?
Yeah, what was on last week, yes.
Yeah, the very previously romantic. On, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I noticed because I rewatched the scene after we watched it and talked about it, when he says, "Will you move in with me?" He doesn't say Tale, he calls him Lay.
Oh, really? I never noticed that.
Lay. Will you move in with me?
It's so funny because, like, I'm watching this and, as you know, I'm going into it blind. And so when it started and it was all like, I know we talked about this last podcast where, oh, I'm just touching my microphone. Sorry about that. Where, I'm sorry, brain fart. Where, like, I think I said, why would he move in with him when, like, Tully has this huge ass, like, fancy luxury apartment? Like, it was one of those things because, like, whereas Hoon had Tun's apartment, which is basically like a one-room studio, one bed, very small space. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I'm watching this and it's really cute that, like, your clothes are so colourful, like, how they were, like, bringing, brightness or whatever he said to the room.
Mm-hmm. Liveliness.
And then he's like, oh, yeah, and these are, like, our room. Like, my spider senses are tingling at this point. And then I'm like, I literally have written down here, like, what even is this? It's like one room. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why would they do this? But then I got distracted by them feeding each other the popped rice. Now you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna take a step out of that scene for a second, as much as I want to talk about it, and talk about popped rice. Like, I'm like,
oh no, this is also what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay. See, this is why we're friends.
Yes.
Because, like, I have this weird, for like listeners, I have this weird like genetic thing with my teeth where they break really easily. So like popcorn is literally my enemy, but I love it. But with popcorn you have the hard like bits. This looked like popcorn, but like not. And I was like, I want that. Why don't we have that here? Maybe we do. I'm gonna have to look for it. I'm like, I want that with like butter and salt and all the good popcorn stuff on it. And but yeah, like
apparently you
like,
can find sweet popped rice. I feel like they ate salty popped rice because when you watch a movie, you would eat salty popped rice, right?
Well, you would think so, but he does say he doesn't want sticky fingers or something like that, which made me like cringe a little bit. I was like, sticky fingers. That's just because my brain always goes to the dirty place.
Come on, it was led there. Like they forced you there. What? They forced all of us there.
Yeah, and then they dragged us there by grabbing each other's hands and then shoving it in each other's mouths.
And looking into each other's eyes with their, heads thrown back, showing their necks and everything.
So much intense eye contact, right?
Very sensual, like,
yeah. And it's like, what the hell, man? Anyway, so I'm going to have to Google it.
I feel other one's hand.
I feel like the going back to the pop rice thing now, I'm obsessed with it. Because it looks like it would be soft, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I feel like that would be really tasty. I feel like here in Australia, maybe I might find it in like health food shop or somewhere like that, where they have like things you don't normally get in the store, because I've never seen it in the supermarket or anything. Or maybe I have, but like as a breakfast cereal. That sounds really weird, but I feel like it's something maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna go looking for it now though, because I'm like, oh, this might be the solution to all of my problems. But yeah, back to the scene.
Back to the scene.
So I'm like, what even am I watching right now? And they had me. Until...
But it's so funny because I remember complaining to you. I was so mean about it as well. When I was watching.
I have no recollection of this whatsoever.
This works for me well because now I was so curious to see your reaction. I was like, she's gonna get pissed.
Well, I'm like watching it, and they had me. They had me right. Although I was just like, it seems too extreme in one way from like the previous episode, right? But they had me right up until putting through the bucket of popped rice in the air and it went everywhere, and then they were like, let's go to bed or whatever, and I was just like, okay, yeah, so whose fantasy is this? and then they moved on to like the product placement teeth cleaning, and I was like, okay, well, this is kind of generic and normal behavior, like because if you were having a fantasy and you were like, ooh, sexy times or whatever, you wouldn't necessarily go and clean your teeth first. I mean, well, maybe you would, but like,
little did you know, apparently Poon has toothpaste fantasies or whatever, kissing with your mouth full of toothpaste.
And I know, right? And it's like matching toothbrushes. The whole thing was, at this point, I was like, okay, wait, hang on a second. Is it a fantasy? Is it a fantasy? Are they cleaning their teeth now? And I was like, oh no, it's definitely a fantasy, because like, who kisses with a mouthful of toothpaste? And then it's interesting that you say it was Poon's fantasy, because this is my question. It's not really hugely illustrated whose fantasy it is.
I think it kind of is, because Talay pushes him away and he's like, what, this is too much. Do you want to live with me, or do you want to do something 18 plus?
But we never heard him say, like, actually describing these things. And even in the last episode, he was just like, about staying together and like not having to go home, and because he can't afford, like, it was very generic. Like in the previous episode when he's asking him to move in, it wasn't like overly romantic or overly like 18 plus or whatever. And even this, like, we didn't hear him say anything. Like, he smiles when Tale says that, but it's also like, it's not like, if you step back from that, it's like, is he saying that because we didn't hear Poon say anything? We didn't hear him describe it like, oh, we could clean our teeth together or whatever. So like, my thing is was he really did he really say something that made Tale go like, oh no, this is too much? Or is it just like Tale started thinking about that and going, oh no, this is too much? Your idea is like, sounds like, why would we do that? Like, why would we share your tiny apartment? Like, it's interesting because I feel like it could be either of their fantasy. I didn't feel like it was overly.
The way I
obvious.
interpreted this scene is that this was Boon's fantasy and he was trying to persuade Tale to move in with him, but he went too far and scared him away.
The toothpaste was one step too far. Yeah, I mean, it could be. It's definitely. I feel like it's kind of open to interpretation.
Yeah.
And the reason why I feel like it fits as well, because Tale is like a champion for having these moments where something will happen and then he like backs right back really quickly and is almost really hard. And he kind of did that here as well, like to the point that when the scene changes, and he's like, suddenly it's, they're back in the he's back in the support group and he's missing him because it's been a really long time and these things have happened, and it's like they both do the same thing. Poon did it as well, like where they push too hard or they back away too far, and then like the other one's either hurt or they don't know how to move forward, so there's this big disconnect between them. Like they create distance between them, if that makes any sense. You just went really quiet. So
I was trying to understand what you're saying. I was like, where is this going?
Yeah, I don't know. I may have lost the point.
You went too far. I just wanted to say that when he said, do you want to live with me or do something 18 plus, my thoughts were, these are not mutually exclusive things, my boy.
Exactly. So you weren't actually paying attention. But no, I agree. Yeah, I must admit, I thought that too. The two don't necessarily need to be disconnected. I liked how they had this, like, we had this really kind of funny sort of intro fantasy bit, even when like they broke out of it and Tale said that to him about the 18 plus. It was kind of funny and all the rest of it. But then we had like super vulnerable. I feel like this is why the upcoming disconnect, I felt like it hurt kind of a little bit because
because Poon continues to be playful and he says like anything can happen, blah blah blah, and Tale pushes him physically away, and it's like breaks the moment, like this is not possible, get a hold of yourself.
Yeah, but then the reason why I feel like it hurts a bit is because then Poon goes on to be very heartfelt and very serious and sort of says to him like the reasons why he really wants to share the space with him, and one of them being like because he feels lost because he won't see him at all.
It's hard, and it's like it's heartwarming to see him 24/7.
24/7, that's right. Yeah, that line. Yeah, and so it's like it's one of the, and then of course you have Tale said you should spend time with other people, and we go back to
other people because you need to find your port key. Don't you want to go back? Yeah, and this is really smacking him with reality. Well, at least with his reality, with the way he sees things into into his forehead, smacking the reality into his forehead. Does this make sense?
Yeah, I mean. It's a bunch of loaded questions that he asks him. The thing with it is this, to me, I feel like this is why, I mean, I don't know, because once again, we're only seeing this first bit. And so I'm not speaking on like potentially what could happen next. But in this moment, to me, I feel like this is why Poon sort of like retreated like way, way deep back, because we can go back to the discussion that we had in last episode's podcast about how, once again, like you say, like Tale is going like, this is his thing, this sensible conversation that they're having, like this is his, you know, important, this is what we should be focusing on, whatever. But it's once again proving that he didn't listen to Kun when they had this conversation previously, because he already said to him that this was not necessarily something that he was looking to do, and it's not even so much about not wanting to go back at this point anyway. It was more about, like, it's heavily implied. I feel like this thing where he says you should spend time with other people, to me it feels really loaded, because like, who else does he know? Like, they spend all their time together. Their other friends that they share have gone off back to their hometowns or whatever to work in family businesses. So, like, his only friends that he knows are, like, not around anymore. So it's just basically his family, or not his family, but, like, Tessa's family, Tale, and, like, the girl.
Yeah, that he did meet that girl. And Tale
so
is considering the possibility that she is his Pertki. And so he's like pushing him towards her.
Yeah. So he says other people, but like, he may well have said her name, essentially. And the thing is, for, like, in the previous episode, Pun basically said that he has no interest in spending time with her alone, like, unless Tale is there, basically, is what he said to both of them. And so I feel like this moment is, he, as you said, he physically and emotionally gives him a shove in the opposite direction. And so it's not any wonder that Pun then goes and completely retreats away from him. Because
because what happened here was Pun reaching out to him and basically telling him, I want to keep you close. I feel good when I'm with you. I
feel
need
lost.
you around. And what Tale does here is just push him away. He does not respond with the same at all. It's basically like, you know, okay, but I don't need you. You go do your thing.
Yeah. And so then we got the episode title, which is Fire Yellow.
Yep.
And we're back at the support group. And with the support group, we find out that...
it's funny. I think it's funny because the guy, I think they're supposed to be young, right? Because it was weird for me. I couldn't decide how old that person was. And they were complaining that they wanted to drink. So I feel like maybe it's someone who's older trapped in a body of someone young.
Who's younger.
Yeah.
And it was funny too, because to me that bit there hit home even harder about, like, how much this is like a support group, you know, like a hello, my name is, and my addiction is, because it's like, I just want to have a drink, and I was like,
Tele is like, I just want to have a boon.
Yeah. I have to say, the leader person irritates the fuck out of me. I don't know what her name is. Oh, yeah. The one who's all like, oh, I miss him, like he's something special to her. That being said, she does drop some truth bombs in her. I see the purpose of her, but I find her so irritating.
What I'm seeing her is her focusing on Tale. She sees the target, and she basically starts acting like an empath, reflecting his feelings to him. Like, she reads him, and she just tells everything that he's thinking. So much so that he's not even focused on the conversation, because when she addresses him, it's like he is lost in his thoughts. Like, the things that she was saying, these things were inside his head. He was not even, he didn't even perceive it as something that was coming from the outside. He was lost in his thoughts. This was his thoughts. So I'm looking at this person, and, you know, I've been reading fantasy things lately. And she gives me the vibe of like an old mystical wise creature that has been living for forever and knows things, knows you, and they're so mysterious and they tell you deep truths.
Mm-mm. Oh, look, as I said, don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I actually feel the same. I feel like she serves that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, as you said, she says, like, you two always stick together. If one is missing, the other one can't help but be empty.
Mm-hmm.
And he, as you said, he's so sort of lost in it that he doesn't even deny it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even a consideration to like, say no, that's not right, or like whatever. He just kind of, I think, nods his head.
It's too obvious.
But I just
yeah.
But I feel it's just her carriage of, I don't know what it is. I just find it irritating.
Oh yeah, the way she is a bit like overplaying somehow. Yeah. But you know what I noticed? Like, she says when one goes missing, the other one can't help but feel empty. And and I'm looking at Poon, and Poon. I mean, I'm looking at Talay, and Talay is wearing black.
He has yellow pants on, though, I think, from memory. But yeah, I feel like the other thing. I feel like the thing with her is, as you said, she's almost like a rather than a character, she's like a caricature, and she serves a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, she serves a purpose in the story that's not what you wouldn't necessarily use a character for. You might use like an object or a memory or like a flashback or like whatever, but
it's like a device.
They're using right. They're using her like a plot device for character development. But because she is that way, she comes across more like a caricature than an actual character, if that makes any sense. At least to me in this point in time.
No, I agree.
Maybe there'll be some development. Yeah.
Like, for example, if you compare her to the character of the nurse is more present. Yeah. The nurse feels like a character. She
feels like a real person in actual fact, more so than a character.
I mean, like, the character as in a story, but this.
Oh yeah, but I mean, yeah.
But she is like not a person, like something different, like this weird creature, that the hero meets in a story, and they like, do you want me to tell you?
We have worked out a new name for her. She's the mystical caricature.
Mystical character.
But yeah, so, and when she says the line, when we miss someone, a minute feels like a year, which is not a new concept. I mean, this is a line that has been used in a lot of like romantic movies, or like any sort of movie where they wanted to use the dramatic oh my god, my mouth does not want to work with my brain. Dramatic passing of time to like really underline the fact that, like, if you're alone, or if something is really hard for you to manage without the people you care about, or like whatever, that like this being alone for a minute can feel like an eternity.
Stretches,
and so it's one of those things that obviously we see at the end of this first part, where it comes into it, because they start talking about like time in days, minutes, hours, seconds, and you have to really like think about that. Like, you've actually calculated that if you're able to say to somebody, it's been this long since I saw you, or this long since you hurt me, or like, you unless you're really good at maths in your head, you've looked that up, and that means that there was enough interest. But not only that, like, how bored do you have to be to look that I feel like you're super lonely, and you're like, I have nothing else better to do, but look how many seconds it's been since you were last in my life.
Okay, I want to say, you know why they have transparent paper in that universe?
Why?
Because next you have a very cool shot of Talay through the
seriously,
paper.
I actually have like a full paragraph written about it. This is probably my favorite scene of this first part, I think.
Oh, really?
Of the way, because of the way it's shot, like for the shooting value of it, you know what I mean, like the imagery of it. Because I feel like this scene where he's alone in his apartment and we see him through the clear paper, it's like a visual representation or like a clear window to self-reflection, because that's like what's happening to him there. Like he's thinking, and I wonder if it was meant to, like the transparent paper was meant to be used as a metaphor in that way. I mean, I'm not sure, but to me that's what it looks like, because we have this like moment where he's sort of like, as I said, it feels like self-reflection to me, and then he looks over and sees the guitar, and it's like, I don't know,
cool,
because it felt powerful for some reason.
Yeah, it reminded me of, these moments from movies like A Beautiful Mind, where the hero is, writing something very important, or something is happening inside their head and they're writing on glass. And here we have paper, and it's like we're seeing through the paper, but we're seeing something that usually you wouldn't see, It's like a window into their state of being, because when a person is concentrated like that, you cannot see
what's happening.
But this is a very interesting, like, you see him from the point of view of the paper, and you see that he's not really interested in the paper. Actually, he's thinking about something else.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost like if he had been in a place of like where he was surrounded by other people, you could say he was using the paper as camouflage, which is funny because it's see-through. But like, it's like we do it sometimes if people, people want to talk to us, but we don't want to talk to them or something. We pretend like we're doing something, or if we've got earphones in or something, we pretend like we can't hear them. Like, so, or if something's super awkward, you know what I mean? Like you pretend to be doing something else or whatever. So if there had been people around and he was feeling this way, he might have used the paper as like camouflage, which, as I said, would have been funny because it's see-through, but like it's almost like that's what's happening here, only the people around him are the viewers, you know what I mean? And the fact that he is doing this, like, he's obviously trying to distract himself by doing something, like I'm not sure what he's meant to be doing, whether it's work or study or what, but like whatever he's trying to do, as you said, he's not really paying attention to it. It's like it's him trying to distract himself from his own feelings, his own thoughts, his own whatever, loneliness.
But it's not working.
Failing miserably.
Because he remembers when Poon was with him and Poon came to him to ask him to play a song for him because he missed the songs from their original universe. And he was pleading with him and was being all cute. But Talay wouldn't pay attention to him because he wanted to play games. He dismissed him. He didn't pay attention to his needs.
It's interesting too because we had scenes in earlier episodes, I mean even maybe last episode and the episode before, where Talay actually accused Poon of like playing games with him. When he like actually needed him to be real or like whatever. So it's interesting that this is like a thing that happened. But it's like it's something that he did.
It's funny because I feel like so far Poon has had this obsession. I mean, Talay has had this need to cover all of Poon's needs. And now he was thinking about everything, every interaction that he had with him, and he found one thing that he did not do perfectly in his mind. That, this did not work. I did not handle this well. I must fix this. This is why I need to go see him because I did not handle this situation well. I must go and sing for him.
This is my doorway into, what's happening. Well, it's interesting because before that happens, though, he is at the university and he's talking to his friends, and his friends are basically, obviously they must be all about to graduate, but they're like, oh no, haha, you can't graduate with us because you didn't take, whatever, English or whatever.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to be all on your lonesome, or you're, all by yourself. And they're like, ha ha ha, not really thinking about the fact that, they just think it's funny. And his response to that is like, basically like, why is everyone around me leaving? Like, why do they keep going missing? Why do they keep leaving me? Is basically what he's saying.
He's so sad and dramatic.
Yeah, he is. He's so much so that they turn up at his apartment with like beer and like a plan to try and cheer him up, because he
that is so
was
cute.
so dramatic.
Oh, yeah. Also when they left him, it looked like they dismissed him, and we had this wide shot of him alone in the university on the stairs, which showed his loneliness. But obviously they couldn't let it go because he was very tragic. So they showed up. Yeah, well, they obviously care about him. So, and then they watched the movie. But also when they show up, they cough behind his back, and he turns back. He's like, Tan.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And he's like so Devo. He's like, oh, it's just you losers. But yeah, and it's like, so they watch the movie. They're eager to watch the movie that he made with the other guys. So they watch the movie, and it's interesting because you're watching their faces and everything, and obviously like Tale is sitting in the middle having like a friggin' personality crisis about the fact that he's desperately missing Tan. But the other two look like they're really actually enjoying the movie. Like they seem happy, and then they seem sad, and then they seem concerned, and then they seem whatever.
Oh, and also it wasn't the most popular list.
It could be commentary on this idea that cinema is dead or dying, because so many things these days do so much better when they go to stream than they did maybe at the cinema or whatever. And so, like, there could be a little bit of a commentary on that as well by the makers. Yeah. But yeah, so of course we have him having this like existential crisis in the middle of his, besties. And they're going through it because they're watching the movie. And then suddenly he's just like, I'm done. I'm going to bed. I'm drowsy. See you later. Peace out. And then we get this scene of him
trying to call Poon.
Yeah, and there's so many things about this scene. Like, first off, like, why are the friends asleep on the floor? Like, why aren't they in the bed? Why did they go home? Like, I have so many questions. The thing that I thought was really cute and really funny was the bit where the friends wake up and they're trying to wake him up, and they come up with this plan that they have to be like more kind of like aggressive because he's not easy to wake up in the morning, and they launch themselves on him and start tickling the pillows. Because he's not there. He's gone off, on a mission. He's on a mission. He probably laid awake all night until he couldn't stand it any longer.
The fact that he even put a pillow there.
Yeah, like, it's like, was that just... it's that once again, it sort of looks like it was on purpose to make them think he was still in bed. But then a lot of Thai people... And I'm saying this like it sounds like a generalization, but like if you've watched Off Gun Fun Night and they talk about how people sleep, like a lot of the actors talk about how they sleep with like a bollard or like a pillow that they hug or whatever. So he could have just had pillows down the middle of the bed because he was hugging them. But it does definitely look like he was like, when like in the movies where like the teenager sneaks out and they make a fake pillow person. Yeah, it did seem like that. So either he left really early and he didn't want them to know how early he went, or it was just a coincidence. But I did think the bit where they were like, where one of them like launched himself on and he's like tickling the pillows, and it's like a few seconds before he realized that he's tickling the pillows. I thought that was quite amusing. It shouldn't have been as funny as it was. Basically, is how I feel about it.
And then we get this next scene, and he is at the gates with the guitar and the lotus flower.
Do you know what? I did not notice any of that.
Oh my god!
In my defense, In my defense, by that stage I was struggling.
Oh.
For our listeners, I'm not feeling very well, and I was like, I did the thing where like you press the button on the TV or whatever, so I could see how much was left of the part, and I was like, oh, it's like 2 minutes. I can do 2 minutes, and my body's going, no, you can't do 2 minutes. We're not going to let you have 2 minutes. And I'm like, no, I can do 2 minutes. So I think I wasn't that observant, because when he started playing the guitar, I was like, where did the guitar come from?
He came
So that answers my
with his own guitar. He practiced the song.
Prepared.
When he was at home, he practiced the song. He put a flower on his guitar case. He came with the guitar.
Okay. So this is the thing. The guitar thing is like good. It's like whatever.
Uh-huh.
Let's backtrack to the lotus flower. The fact that he bought the lotus flower, is romantic, right?
For lovers, yes.
Because,
singing
like,
a love song to him.
Because you would have to know, like, it's the thing between them. They've mocked it. They think it's funny. They think it's weird. They whatever. But like, you also know that this is what it means to bring one. It means something.
Mm-hmm. Like, he got it somewhere, right? It was just not there on the case.
Yeah.
He picked it up, or like he bought it. Yeah.
Over. Yeah.
This scene is so cute though, because he's there like with his headphones on, facing the mirror, and Tale sneaks up on him and takes off his headphones with his childish, playful vibe. And Poon turns, and he's all dramatic and slow and sad, and it's like he's like half alive. But
it's sort of somewhat comical though, because he has like a beard made out of like shaving cream.
It's so exaggerated. Like, there's no hair on that face. Why?
I know, right? Yeah, when he does where he takes some off to wipe it on Tale's face, it's like, where's the beard? Where's the stubble? Where's the whatever? But yeah, I don't know. As I said, because you
maybe he was like, maybe time passed for him so slowly that he would put that thing on, and he was looking into the mirror. I was like, oh man, I'm so old. So much time. I haven't seen him in like decades. I miss him so much. I don't even look like myself anymore.
Yeah, look at this beard that I grew. But you remember we were talking about in the Green episode, or after the Green episode, I think I said something about Green representing something different for Poon than Tale.
Mm-hmm.
I vaguely remember saying something about how I thought it was like sadness or anger or whatever, but I couldn't remember, and I was like, oh, we should monitor this, blah, 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 right? So the only reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's interesting that in this, like, all through the episode, we had, Mr. Yellow Pants in the scene where he's in the support group. We had Yellow Shirt in the fantasy at the very beginning. We had Yellow Jacket at the school. And then in this scene where he goes to see Poon, he's wearing green.
Mm-hmm.
He has a green jumper on.
That is interesting.
And whether or not it means anything or not, I don't know. But I did think it was interesting that when Poon first turned around and he saw Tale there, and Tale was in green. I don't remember what I said about the green though, so I don't know.
Well, I remember that you mentioned that maybe it meant something bad for for Poon. But I don't really see it like this, because if you think about yellow means happiness usually, right? Brightness and richness. And at the same time, yes, it's cheerful, but at the same time, when it's interpreted as something negative, it might mean fear.
Well, yellow also represents sickness as well.
Yes, sickness and fear. So, but green, jealousy and also sickness. But I don't see it. I don't really see it here. So if this green is in this scene, it maybe is like a new beginning. I'm not sure.
Maybe, but I think, I don't know. Depending on what I said, and as I said, I don't honestly remember. I feel like it was. I definitely feel like I said. I thought maybe it meant something different for Poon than it did for Tale. And I kind of, if what I said was like sadness, then, or like, yeah, something bad, then I still feel like it could kind of work here, because if you think about it from Poon's point of view, when he turns around and he sees Tale, like, if you were him, you would have a brief moment where you're like, he's not really here. Yeah. And so, like, his immediate image, if like in a show where colors are really important, and this episode is yellow and everything, it's very interesting that they made this choice, because like normally when they change the color, then like the color is still somewhere, like his pants would be yellow, or like, like or Poon would be wearing yellow or something like that. There would be, that tends to be how it seems to be working within like the clothing of it. And so I did think it was interesting that he doesn't have yellow on when he goes to see him. While I don't think it necessarily means anything bad, I just think,
I'm like, maybe, this color is kind of yellowish. It's like, they looked at it and was like, yeah, yellow enough. It works for me. I'm looking, I was like,
it's a yellow-green.
Yellowish green.
You know what? It could be as simple as that, and like, I'm overreaching. But if it's not, if they've legitimately made a choice to make it green, then it's interesting, because it fits that idea of him, like, as you said, questioning, like, is this really happening? Is he really here? And also it could, because what is green meant to signify for Tale? I don't remember.
Well, I read it as...
Is it
as a new beginning?
Okay. It works both then in this scene then, him having green on. Because it's like Tale has gone there for like a new beginning, sort of. Like he's extending the olive branch. Like basically they had this weird moment where Poon asked him to move in and he said no, and then like disappeared and stopped talking to him. And so like to overcome this distance that's suddenly between them, Tale makes the move. He extends the olive branch of like friendship, whatever, love, whatever he's doing here, by putting himself out there. So he's creating a new beginning for himself. So the green works for him in this scene, and I feel like the green works for my theory of like something bad or sad or like whatever with Poon as well, because there would be this moment, and I feel like you see it a little bit on his face when he first sees him, like he's not really sure. Like he's afraid to believe, I
don't know about afraid to believe, but afraid to be happy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course, as you said, Tale sings him the song.
Yes.
Because he wanted to listen to it. The other thing I did notice, since we're talking about colours as well, is that I did notice that, interestingly enough, Tun's room in his house, very much like his room in his apartment, is totally blue. Or like very much blue. Like it's either very stark in the whiteness of it, or it's like blue, basically. So there are a few pops of colour. You saw like there was like a red statue of like a head, and then like a few other bits and pieces, but primarily the room is white and blue, which I thought was interesting, because we've talked a lot about how Tale has brought colour to Poon's life. And I know it's not the focus of the story, and I know you're frustrated to me when I talk about Tess and Tun, but it's interesting too that like Tun seems to have a similar... No, well, he does. He seems to have a similar standpoint where if you think about the fact that like the clothes that Tale is wearing, like at the very beginning of the episode, I say the very beginning of the episode, we're still only talking about part one. At the beginning of part one, in the fantasy, Pun says to Tale about like how colourful his clothes are or whatever, those clothes are Tess's. So it's almost like, even though the colour thing is a Tale thing, you could also see how Tess might bring colour to Tun's life too, given that he's kind of monochrome.
In this universe, Tale's vision becomes real, doesn't it? Because he's a colorist in his original universe, but he's not as colorful of a person. He only imagines the world that he wants in the colors that he creates in his head. Well, in this universe, all these colors become the reality of his existence. The clothes, everything, the surroundings, the vibe, everything is colored in the way he feels.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like it. I think it's, as I said, and I thought it was interesting too with that realization, because I feel like even though this isn't their story, I feel like we kind of have to talk about it, because we're looking at it from the perspective of Tale and Pun, and we're going, oh, like Pun's surroundings are blue, like it means that, this blah 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 blah. But you also have to be aware of the fact that the surroundings that he's in were Tessa's, and not Tessa's, Tun's. So like,
I don't really feel like I need to look through that prism, to be honest.
No, but I just feel like it's like, I'm just, what I'm trying to say is, like, I feel like we can't just be like, oh, you're taking a lot on board when you're saying something like, oh, this means this for Pun, for example, like, look, all the colouring in this scene is blue, or like whatever, but like that's the colouring of the room for whatever reason. Like, it's always going to be blue because of the water above the, like in his apartment, the water above the bed and the this and the that, like that doesn't change. So it was like that for it was like that for Tun too. So I'm just like, I feel like it's important to mention that it might be a dual existence, not just because if we're going, oh, it means something for this character, but it was already there. Like, yeah, it's highlighting it. We can see it's connected to him, especially if you're looking at it from the perspective of Tale, who, as you said, is the colorist, and this is how he sees the world and everything. But Pun isn't a colorist. So it's like, yeah, I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know if I'm what do you call it? Explaining it very well. I just feel like it's still, I get what you're saying. It's not significant to the way you see it, but I do feel it's important to mention it, because I feel it's kind of like, I don't know what the right word is.
Well, there's a reason why they were thrown in the lives of these people, because it fits what they need. It fits what their life were missing.
That's right. And I feel like if we're trying to fit something in, whether it's a theory or like just the idea of like how this colouring is working or whatever, I feel like we're being biased, and we're only telling one side of the story if we don't acknowledge the fact that this is also part of like Tun's reality, I think is what I was trying to say. So I do think it's interesting because, and it does sort of fit because
it is connected to him, but it doesn't matter to me because this is not his story. And even though, yes, it was his room, but right now I don't feel the need to talk about it because, yeah, it was his room and it was also blue and maybe it meant something for him, but he's not here and I do not see him. And he's not here to sing a slow song looking into the eyes of this person with this like gentle expression.
He's not one of my babies. I don't care. Bye-bye. Yeah, I don't know. I can't help it. I have to look at the whole picture. because I find like when I consume media, especially the way we're doing with this, like if it's something that stays with me for a while, I think I like to think about it, or it's not even like I like to, it just happens because that's just how my brain works, where I'll think about it from all angles, and I can't help but think about the fact that because they wouldn't be there without the others, even though they're not the focus, they couldn't exist in this place without them. Like that's the whole part of the point of it.
Maybe it's because I know that we do not find out more about them, so I kind of accepted the fact that the story is not about them, and I'm not even diving into that because that story is not really told Like you can create it in your mind, picking up certain details and expanding on them, magnifying them, but you can't go very far with it. So I guess this is why I'm not really clinging to these details.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I just feel like for me, I mean, in this particular thing with the colors and that, I just feel like it's telling half of it. Whether or not we find out about those things about them, we don't. You have to make assumptions because we're not going to find that out. But then half of what we're doing as well with Pun and Tale is making assumptions as well. Yes, some of them obviously we'll find out. They'll be like, it'll become clear or like whatever. But like there will still be things that you and I talk about or we theorize about or thoughts that you have even after you've seen the whole thing like a couple of times, where you might feel a way about it or think a way about it, but it's not actually confirmed. So we're just theorizing anyway.
Mm-hmm. So Tele sings.
You're like, let's get back to the bit where he sings the romantic song. God damn it!
Seriously, Zoe, come on, let it go. Let's get back to the cute things.
I actually don't. All I've written in my notes, I literally just have. He sung him the song he wanted to listen to. That's literally all I have written down. So take it away.
Well, I don't know what to say. He sings the song. The song is pretty. It's a love song. You can read it as a confession. They're looking into each other's eyes while this is happening. He's smiling, like he has a gentle expression on his face while he's singing, and Boone is looking at him very intently, like something very serious is happening in front of him. It doesn't, like, you wouldn't expect that expression on the face of someone who's listening to someone else singing a song to them.
Because well, he's probably still a little unsure about, you know what I mean? I feel like when he's just singing to him, because we don't get the conversation before, really. We just get the, like, there's not a lot of conversation. Because the conversation
what we get before that is that Tale asks him what he's listening to, and Boone says, not much, because I don't know the songs. Like, so he cannot connect to anything, basically, in this new universe. He does not feel like he's understood.
Yeah,
when
he feels lost, which is what
and lonely.
Which is what he tried to tell Tale back at the very beginning of the episode. Was lost, that he felt lost
and misunderstood, because that's what you do when you listen to songs. You feel like someone else expresses your feelings, right?
Yeah.
You listen and you empathize with the lyrics. You see yourself in them. And what I got from the way he just dismissed the songs from this universe was that he cannot connect to them, even though he's the one who doesn't mind this universe. But the thing is that music is about feelings. And his connection to this universe, even though he likes it here, his heart is all about Tale. His feelings are connected to Tale. He needs Tale in order to feel something, right? And he cannot find Tale in these songs, so he doesn't connect to them. He feels misunderstood because he cannot hear himself in these songs. So Tale comes to him and sings him this love song, which maybe is exactly what he feels. Maybe Tale sings, his feelings to him. Maybe this is the song that reflects what is happening inside his heart.
Mm. Well, it's interesting what you were saying about music too, because you're right. I feel like with music is one of those things that when you feel really shit, when you feel lost, when you feel alone, when you feel hurt, in pain, whatever, even happiness as well. It's like, full spectrum of emotions here. You can usually find music, as you said, that will feel familiar or empathetic or sympathetic, or as you said, you don't feel alone, you feel understood, you feel like you find someone who's like a kindred spirit. Or
it's funny because the friends, when they're in the university, the friends say, let him play his music video. Remember?
Yeah.
So when you
But, like-
feel something and suddenly a song that vibes with you starts playing, it's like you're in your own music video, your life, and now you have a song. The background music.
And then you have this thing, though, this idea of, like, you were saying, you know, like, without Tale, he couldn't get connected to the music. It's interesting because it is like that. Like, I feel like, you know, you can be heartbroken or really depressed, or you've seen something really sad or something traumatic, or like something's happened, and you go to music to make sense of it, to, as you said, feel understood, feel warmth, feel whatever, feel like a kindred spirit, kinship, whatever. But then there are also times where, if you're alone, you can't find that. Like, you, like, none of it sound like, it's funny how when, even if you're fighting with someone or that person is breaking your heart or whatever, but they're still close to you, you can, there's like a, I don't know, it's like you can still feel them or something. So there's like, the music is different. When you listen to music, it's different. Whereas when something feels like, when you feel such a disconnect from that person, or it's like, it's really, really hard. Like, I find like you're listening to music, and songs that maybe used to make sense before don't make sense to you anymore. Like, they just don't sound right. Like, there's a, you know, like, you'll be listening to it, and like a line that maybe you skipped over in the past because it doesn't fit your situation and it didn't really used to bother you before, now suddenly stands out to you, and nothing fits. Like, it's not right. It's just, it's this person doesn't get you. This person, you know, you don't have anyone else who feels the way that you feel in that moment. And it's really interesting that this is kind of illustrated here in this way.
Yeah. So then Tale says, I should leave now. And Finn is like, are you kidding me? And Tale lets him know that actually he's honest. He tells him that he's there because he missed him. Basically confessing that he used the song as a reason, not a reason, a justification to see him.
It's kind of an accusation. It's kind of accusatory though as well too, doesn't it? Because he says something. He uses the minutes thing or whatever about like how long he missed him or was waiting for him to like get in contact or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I had to come here and play this song because you like didn't contact me for this many minutes or like whatever. I can't remember the exact line, but that was essentially the meaning of it.
He said, I freaking missed you. And Ben says, I know, because he was counting seconds, missing him like crazy. And then they hug. And it's cute.
Yeah. And one of them has no shirt on, so like totally bros hugging.
Yeah. So let's go watch part 2.
Okay, let's do it.
Part 2. So we get them talking, and Talea asks Boone why he disappeared. And Boone tells a tragic story of his life. Well, he has no money, no friends. Basically, everything is about money. He didn't want to meet anyone. He didn't want to connect with anyone. He didn't want to bother the parents. So he basically isolated himself so that he doesn't spend. And then Talia asks him why he did not answer his calls. And if this is not one of the most romantic things that I heard, I don't know, because if you wanted to see me or if I heard your voice, I couldn't resist going to see you.
Yeah, he would have had to have gone. Go on.
This is so romantic. This is there are so many love confessions in this part. They're expressing their feelings to each other in this episode, actually, in different ways. Like, they say it, they don't say I love you, but they say it in so many different ways. Like, counting minutes and seconds, telling each other that they missed each other, singing love songs to each other, telling each other that they wouldn't be able to resist going to the other one if they heard their voice or felt like the other one needed them, telling them what they missed in each other. It's just so cute. Talay has feelings, like you can see him breathe shallowly. Shallowly? Is this how you say it? When he hears Pun say that, like he has to look in a different direction and just take a few breaths. He also says that no job, that he couldn't get a job because
there was nothing he wanted to do.
He was nothing he wanted to do because Talay was not a part of it. And then he says this reflecting, and like he leans his head back. Says a life of doing things alone is not fun at all. And he says it as a person who has known this for a while, who came to this conclusion on their own a long time ago. And then, we find out that Tawi is Pakorn's father. And I'm like, Tawi, what are you doing here? Why are you pretending?
That's why it was familiar to me, because I'm sitting here going, who are you? And why is this bothering me?
What did you do to Sean's dad?
He's in witness protection. He's switched universes and now he's here hiding.
And I love what happens here.
And that in the last episode, that wasn't gun, and it also wasn't third. It was actually white undercover.
Oh no, it was black. It was black.
Oh, it was black. Yeah, it could be black.
Because we did not see Sean. It was obviously black.
Yeah, because the bit in Not Me where black disappears for a while. He went here to try and find Tawi.
He's so close yet so far. And also, this thing, another way of expressing love, because they're like, ever since he got home, he doesn't really talk about anything but you. And this is what you do when you're in love, right? Everything, every conversation that you have with someone is somehow ends up
related to that person.
And you have to praise them. You have to present them in a positive way. And this is basically what he did, because Talay asked, oh, did you gossip about me? But the parents are like, nah.
Yeah, just like how most of my conversations revert back to Not Me.
And then mom is like,
love it so much.
Mom is like, okay, let's leave them alone now. And
do you know what I really thought was funny about this is that, like, when they're in the stairs and they're talking and they're having this, like, serious, like, as you said, like, meaningful, romantic sort of conversation, she pops her head in and she's like, I made snacks for you. And when they go in there, they're like, it's like a bowl of, like, choco pies and wrappers.
Maybe she works at the factory.
Yeah, she made snacks like my mom makes snacks. What's the snacks for you? Catch the bag of chips.
I think it counts.
Sorry?
It counts.
Oh, of course it counts. If you paid for them.
As someone who lives alone and has to get the snack for themselves, by themselves, it counts. Yeah. It's nice when someone makes snacks for you.
Like they opened the box and poured them out. They purchased them, opened the box and poured them out onto a bowl. It counts. But yeah, I did think that was funny. But yeah, so we get the whole, it's, you know, he's done nothing but talk. And I love how the father's getting really Talay. Not Talay, Tawi. No, that's not who it is. But I like how...
Come on, it's Tawi. He's just pretending to be a good father now.
I know. But how Tun's father is, like, so animated. He's getting ready to, like, launch into, like, some story. And Pun's just like, yeah, that's enough. That's enough of that. He's like, hey, any minute now you're going to reveal too much.
As if, you know, other people I needed for that to happen. He is very good at doing that on his own.
No,
he does not need help.
And so, as you said, then the parents kind of are like, "Oh, we'll leave you alone," which is like usually what like in a show or a movie or something is like what the parents do when they're like trying to like matchmake or like whatever, and it's like, why are you leaving them alone? Like, why do you think they need to be alone with a huge bowl of chocolate?
I mean, I think they understand pretty well why they let them alone, and considering that they almost launch into like an
embarrassing montage of like how much our son loves you because he won't stop talking about you.
Exactly. Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Let the parent shaming begin.
Exposing his embarrassingly intense feelings for you. Embarrassingly, I don't even know what I said. Yeah, so and then they start talking about Pacorn's parents and how they're so great and warm and how they give Pacorn everything that he likes. And
they just did it right then. They like
exactly,
we're gonna leave exactly. Here, our precious son, have some alone time with the boy you like.
Yeah, and then we had a bit of product placement, but also entangled with flirting because Poon is like, I like it too. I mean you. And then when Talay is like, huh? Poon steps back, is like, oh no, actually, I like it when you eat. It looks so yummy. Which is actually, you know what? I can read into that as a love thing as well, because when someone you love does something, suddenly that thing is also attractive. Yeah. You want to try that.
It's like when you make something for someone you love though, and they enjoy it. You know what I mean? And you put the effort in, and you're watching them enjoy it, and like it does make it taste better. It does make it the experience better. It's just one of those things.
And then we hear the doorbell, and Poon is like, oh my god, who is this? And he looks up, and one way, and another way. What is happening? Who came to us? And Up is there.
And it was Up turned up.
And it's funny because he's the one who called them to come over. Yeah. Yes. So Up is there with Thai sausages. Oh,
and
yeah.
Al comes. All the vowels are in his name except for E and I.
Yes, and Talay is like, oh my god, is this destiny? And Poon is like, there are no such things. I destined this. And I think this represents the way they see this whole situation and the way they see the Portuguese thing as well. Because Talay waits for it to happen. He waits for signs. He, waits for things to align perfectly for him so that it makes sense, and this mechanism that got him here to work and to all the pieces to get in place and send him back. Well, Poon sees this as he doesn't really believe that it works this way, and he doesn't expect something to happen to him. He just wants to do the things his own way. He takes control of the situation. So he destines. Is there such a word?
No, I don't think the way he uses it it's correct. Well, like it's one of those things fun. Where someone says something and it's like not correct, but it's just like, oh yeah, it works.
Yeah. So he makes it happen. He makes it happen. And then we had that thing with the reserved snacks.
Yeah, because of course this was the thing where like Poon was just watching Talay eat them, and so Talay was like, well, I'm going to eat them all myself. So when Up decides to take one, it's very, very like strange. But Poon is like, no, these are reserved snacks, and like is protecting them with his life.
And Up is like, yeah, sure. And then he tries to take another one.
I love where he's just like, he said he would eat them all himself. He, like the royal he. And it's so funny because they had this look between Up and Al.
Because Poon is like, everything for you, and Talay is like, I accept.
Yeah, and the other two, for a moment, you think they're like the light bulb is turning on, and they're like, oh, they like each other, but instead it's like, oh no, we won't settle for this. We're going to try and steal them anyway.
And then when it doesn't happen, he eats the wrap out of frustration.
Because, you know, at his heart up is Neo, and that is totally something Neo would do.
Yeah.
The hug, talking about, like, getting into the actors versus the characters for a moment, but the hug between Up and Poon, so, like, Jimmy and Neo was really cute too.
Oh, he was. Mm-hmm. I noticed it as well.
Yeah.
And then we get them looking at sparkles. how those things
the sparklers. Sparklers, yeah.
And they...
I don't know, they might have a different name, but that's what I've always called them.
Things that sparkle. Burn and sparkle. And they're like, oh, this is short. Sparkled for like 10 seconds and then it was gone. And then he's like, I meant us. We should just try again because we only failed one time. Why did we give up? We should do it again.
Yeah, Up's like, we should fail a bunch of times.
And Finn is like, no. Did you notice they were... If you looked at that scene, it looks greenish yellow. Like there was yellow, but it was not completely yellow. It had shades of green as well.
I don't know, it looks pretty yellow to me, but then that could just be the TV. But did you have a theory as to what it meant? If it was what you were thinking?
Well, if it's also a thing of a new beginning, then it fits. Because they start again. They try again.
Yeah. It's so funny. I keep saying it's so funny, or it's so interesting. It's not funny or interesting. No, I'm just kidding.
Let me be the judge of that.
the bit where
he was changed so suddenly, like the bit where I'm like, oh, what's he going to say?
I just got electrocuted. No, I'm joking. The bit where Poon said no to do it trying again, Tale's face, like, just, like, destroyed me. He's like, what? No!
Impossible.
You're going to deny us?
Yeah, and then we had that sweet scene where they're all sleeping, all but Tale, and Tale just walks from one person to the other and rubs them. Yeah, yes. And he's so cute, and he is thinking about the way they were talking earlier and how was telling Up that he missed him, and he was listing the things that he missed about him, his friendliness, the fact that he made people smile, and something else. And then he gets while we get flashbacks to that moment, Tale walks from one person to the other, and when he gets to Poon, we see the moment when Poon asked him, well, what did you miss about me? And Tale was unable to answer that at that point.
Yeah.
But now, while he was looking at Poon sleeping, it came to him.
I have to say this, just breaking the conversation for a second. But first off, hang on a second. Oh, my notes all just moved. How much of a baby does Jimmy look in that scene? Like, he just looks like a precious, like, he looks so young, like like a little kid young. I was like, oh my god, it's a baby!
Yes.
He looks so sweet. And then, I have to say, Tale's hand on Poon in this bit here, where he's talking to him and telling him what he meant, like, sort of, like, I don't know, is it hip, is it butt, whatever it was very, word I'm looking for, familiar and, like, the word.
Intimate? I don't know.
Yeah, intimate, but, like, you know, when you, you're with your person.
Comfortable.
Yeah, that, but also like, it's like we do it when we're out places and when we're with our person. Like we might put like, you know, like if there's a lot of people around or something, you might put your hand on their shoulder or on their side or something, and just kind of pull them into you because, like, it's like it's not possessive. It's like that, but it's not. It's almost like, oh my god, what is the word?
I don't know.
Propriety is not the right word, but it's something like that. Where because it's almost like where it's like you're taking ownership, but also it's more than that. It's like protective and, as you said, like intimate and it's like all of those things all at once. Like it's like you can do this because it's allowed because they're your person. Do you know what I mean?
And you know
like,
that if they woke up, they wouldn't mind. They didn't even notice.
It's this unconscious. Yeah, it's this unconscious like, this is okay for me to do this. This is comfortable. This is like how it should be. Kind of like moment that where he does this. I noticed the hand and I was just like, yeah.
And what he missed, another confession, he missed his annoyance, he missed his shyness, his nice singing voice, his care, and lastly just him.
Yeah.
That was so cute. And the way he looked at him. And then Pim wakes up and Tale freaks out.
Yeah. And so the question is here, because it's not really given away, I don't think. The question I have did Pun hear any of that, or did he just literally wake up like he said he did from hearing the whispering?
I feel like he did not hear that.
Yeah, I think so too. Like he didn't act like he heard any of it.
His
behavior didn't.
He'd have a different look on his face if he heard that.
Yeah. I feel like too, yeah. So, and so now...
But he accuses Tale of talking behind his back, which actually does happen. Yeah. And then he wakes up and he sees Tale and he sees that they're alone, awake, and he's like, oh my god, this is my moment. I must spend every second with him awake and never sleep and never let go and talk about cute things and touch and just use every opportunity to get him to stay with me and just spend time with me and never let go. And so it's like, take responsibility. I cannot sleep. And then he says this thing with...
which is flirting, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
The sounds. The C, which I think is Tale. So
Tale, yes.
will...
The sound of Tale. Oh, God.
Yeah, will put me to sleep, so you should whisper in my ear.
Yeah, but Tale is like, take it literally.
I know, the way he took it literally. And it's so funny because at first I thought he was messing with him, but when he sits up and he's like, I was making the wave sound, like he's so earnest in it, like he was serious. And it's like, oh boy, seriously, what's happening here?
And he's like, maybe I should I like butt your butt or something? And Pun is like, yes!
Should I try patting your back and your butt at work when I nanny for my nephew? And it's so... I laughed at that as well, because I remember being, like, when I was sick as a kid, my mum used to do that. She would, like, pat us on the backside and then kind of rub our bottom, which sounds weird. But it was actually really... It's one of those memories I have of, like, when I was not well or whatever as a kid that was really soothing. So there must be something to it.
Yeah, and then... And Tale was like, no, just don't talk and then you'll sleep. And he yawns and Pun understands that Tale is actually tired and I guess he feels like he must let him sleep, and suddenly it's not about him going to sleep. Now it's about Tale going to sleep. Yeah. So it's like, I can help you. I can make you a massage.
Yeah, the only thing that like bothered me about this scene is it's almost impossible to watch someone yawn and not yawn yourself. And he doesn't yawn here, even though Tale like just about cracks his jaw yawning in front of him, and I'm just like, he should have yawned. Quinn should have yawned. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like this, like the focus shifts.
Okay, but that's sensual, right? That's an
apparently it's an erogenous zone. But, like, I don't know. Like, the things that are erogenous zones don't really have much of an effect on me, so I don't really...
Well, yeah, it depends on person.
I think so. I don't know. I think it's weird. I think... You know how certain people have weird... Once again, we're going off topic, but, like, I feel like if you've been with us for a while, you realise that this is what happens when Zoe's on a podcast. But, you know, like... you know, like, how, like, some people hate feet and some people hate, like, genitalia and some people hate, like, whatever. Like, people go, like, oh, hands are ugly, or, oh, like, I don't like feet, or whatever. I don't like ears. I think ears are weird. And I don't know why.
Ears?
Probably that's why why I keep putting holes in mine. I'm, like, trying to camouflage that they're there. And some more jewelry. I don't know. I just think they're a weird thing.
I don't mind as long as they're clean.
Yeah, well, right. That's one of those things as well. They're visibly, they can be, yeah. And it's like, you know, when you see, like, in shows and TV shows and movies and that, where they, like, lick inside someone's ear or whatever, I'm like, ugh. I'm like, no, it's a no from me.
Well, it's a no for you, but I think Poon would totally do that. He was like, does this work for my babe?
Yeah, he's like, let me massage them. No, shall I lick them for you? What about
I think maybe it works. Maybe, you know, if he wasn't half asleep already, because he puts his hand on Poon's hand.
Yeah, it's interesting, because that bit there kind of looks like you could have imagined that he was either, like, going to, like, hold on to him, which is what he ends up doing, or, like, be like, stop it. You know, like, stop touching my ears, it's weird. And then, but, like, he's too tired, so he just fell asleep.
But it ends up being, like, holding hands while falling asleep. He holds on to him while falling asleep, which is really
that
cute.
Contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he falls asleep while Poon watches him sleep. Like, Poon continues doing that and watches him sleep.
Yes.
And I have written here
who is really benefiting from the ear rubbing, really? Is it Tale or is it Poon? Who is enjoying the ear rubbing the most? I feel like it's Poon.
Of course, Zoe. Of course.
The thing that I thought was the thing that I was kind of found like intriguing in this. And, like, okay, it's a drama, so it's scripted this way, but, like, think of it like this is a real world situation. The way the friends chose to sleep. You know, one chose the couch, one chose, like, a mat on the floor. Like, they've left that space for Tale next to Poon. Which in itself is, like...
Or maybe Poon told them to... go there. Maybe, like, you know, maybe they took turns. Maybe they took turns going to the bathroom, and Tale was the last one. He left everyone else go first, and then when he came back, everyone was already asleep, and Poon reserved the place next to him for Tale.
Yeah, while that's right. While Tale was in the bathroom, they each tried to get on the bed, and he's like, "No, this is like the choco pies. This is not for you." This is reserved for him only.
Yep. And then we see Tale googling signs you're falling in love, and he gets caught by his friends.
Yes. And they mock him for a little bit, but then stop.
But he's like, no. They're like, who do you like? And he's like, no, this is for the movies. This is a research.
And they're like, sure it is. What's his name?
And then I wrote it down. It's Kita and Fuse.
Yeah. I forget which one's which, though.
Kita is the one who is taller. Yeah, he says, don't complicate it. To like someone is to want them in your life. And then he says, don't be afraid. You should be afraid of letting that person slip through your fingers.
Yeah.
Wise words.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, it's like those things, it's like missed opportunities, you know.
Yeah, because you regret the things that you didn't do.
Yeah.
You don't regret the things that you didn't do. did.
That's right. I always say, or if you do, it's not the same kind of regret.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's different. It doesn't haunt you in some way or whatever.
Well, unless you kill someone, but you know.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. Now who's going off topic? I'm like, hello, Dark Marilla. Where have you been all my life?
I'm always here, Zoe.
I feel like we were talking about this once before about the different ideas of parallel universes and things like that, and how in some variation of us there's like someone who's like a complete psychopath. I'm like, they just knocked on your door. That version. No, but yeah, like it's what you're right, and it's one of those things. It's like, even like I always say to people, you know, if you're not sure about like something, like what you could get, for example, or like what you can do, like you should always ask, because if you don't ask, you don't get. You know what I mean? So it's a kind of a similar sort of thing. If you don't try, you won't know. Like, you know, and even if with love and stuff like that and friendship or whatever, like relationships, even if ultimately they end up hurting you, usually usually what you get from them outweighs that. Like,
yeah, because if you try and it fails, you have, you know, that knowledge of the fact that it just didn't work, and at some point, hopefully, you get over it. But if you never try, there's always this what if in your head that maybe comes back and haunts you in moments when you least expect.
Yeah, or does messes with other relationships, which almost makes me wonder as well. Like, obviously, there's a little bit of that from both of them in this, given that, you know, whatever past, you know, issues they've had is definitely factoring the way they're behaving with one another now. You know, like Tale having this whole, like, you know, love is bad, I hate pink, you know, blah blah blah. Like there's we've spoken about it a bunch of times, but there is a reason that he would have come to that conclusion, whether or not his parents had a bad marriage, whether or not he had a bad relationship, like who knows, like, or even if he just maybe saw friends who had like dreams or whatever, and they like forego the dream to like pursue like love instead or something, and then when that falls out, they don't have like their dream or their career or love, you know what I mean? So like it could be one of any of those things, but something has given him, or had given him, this opinion that it wasn't worth the trouble. Like love wasn't worth it.
My headcanon is that his dad abandoned him and his mom and his brother.
Yeah, and that's very well potentially is what the case is, and it would fit. And it's one of those things. So he's carrying that into every relationship that he has or attempts to have. And when you do that, like, so if like, so for example, say in this situation, they never got to where they're meant to be because he was too scared to try. Like, he was too scared to take his guitar over and sing the song or like whatever, which started this whole ball rolling again. Like, say he never did that and they just went on and lived their lives, and however that worked out, like every relationship or every almost relationship after that, this parts of what's happened here would be carried into that, because there's unresolved issues like that he's just not acknowledged or not met because he is too afraid or, you know, whatever. And so by like making these steps, that even though like in the long term, if a relationship fails, at least, you know, like you're not taking these past like hang-ups with you. You might take new ones with you because because of other shit that happens, but like this other stuff, you will have put that part to bed, so to speak. Like, you won't be dragging it, you know, you're not suddenly carrying 6 pieces of luggage instead of just the one suitcase. You don't have heaps of baggage, just a little bit, like most people. But that's what happens when we don't like try and interact with other people. We don't, you know. And the other thing is, let's think about how much we learn from each other, you know, like even just like with love and stuff like that. Like, yeah, okay, obviously you're getting all the good stuff from love, your companionship and all that sort of stuff, support, whatever. But you're also like, there's a level of human interaction that you have with a loved one that's different from like an acquaintance or like just someone you meet or like whatever, that like, to miss out on those connections is such a shame. Like, even with family and stuff, like, you know, we might not always like them, but, like, we usually love them. But, you know, like, the interactions you have, like, even if you have negative interactions with family and stuff like that, there's so many things that you can, like, look back on and go, well, I learned this, or you know, I'm this way because of this, or, like, whatever. And sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's negative, but sometimes the negative stuff happens for a positive reason. Like, sometimes things have to happen, but, like, we learn these things, and if you don't have this, like, interactions, if you don't have these human relationships, which it's funny because Tale is so, like, when we meet him, you know, like, he has friends and everything, but he's so reserved from them. You know, like, they're all having fun and he's so immersed in the other of his life, not the, you know, not what's actually happening right now, right in front of him, not the human connection. Like, he's seeing, like, he uses colors almost in the beginning as, like, a crutch to, like, distance himself from everything. It's almost like, you know, we were talking before about the transparent paper and having this, like, almost like window through, like, almost like a camouflage or a barrier between, like, reality and the rest of, you know, what's happening. And it's like he used colors in that way, you know, like, he hid behind them. He hid behind this, like, these ideas and stuff like that. And while now it's being embraced and it's part of his world and that, and it's not like that he was necessarily wrong for what he was doing, but he was, like, distancing himself so much from everybody and from those, like, human connections. And it was interesting because he was using the colors kind of to do that.
Yeah.
I keep saying things tonight and then you just go really quiet at the end of it, and I'm just like, I don't know what I said.
You said very interesting things.
I don't know. Like, I'm like, did she go to sleep?
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. It was very well said. So, yeah, agree.
But yeah, so in this scene where we have, like, them, I guess, both reaching out, you know, Tale's not quite brave enough to do it while Poon's awake.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's still keeping these feelings to himself.
Yeah. And Poon is still doing the playful, you know, flirty thing, mm-hmm. but, like, there's so much more behind it, you know. But that's
because
his
the distance,
well.
this time that they spent apart put things into perspective, and now they value each other even more. They understand how important they are.
Yeah, they're still so afraid, though. You see that in the way they're interacting.
Yeah, it's very delicate and vulnerable, this connection that they have.
Which makes sense because they were starting to get really close, and then, like, everything fell apart, so to speak, with the film and everything. Mm-hmm. Like, they were on such a high, and then it was like it like all came crashing back to reality, and then the reality of that was that they had to be separated. And I mean, if you were in this situation, like, legitimately in this situation where you were starting to have feelings for this person in a place where you don't really know who they are, you don't know what they look like, you're going based off of, like, feelings. This could all alter at any point in time. They could go back, you could go back. Mm-hmm. Like, there's, like, so many ideas of loss and everything tangled up in it. And then you have this, you know, you start to get to this point where you think, you know what, it's worth it. Like, you know, I can really care about this person. Things are going good. You're getting happy. You're getting relaxed. You're starting to feel like you belong. And then it all just goes wrong. And then suddenly you're apart. And you know, you could understand why you would pull back then, because, like, this is kind of like what could happen in the future, but, like, on a small scale. Like, at the moment they were separate, but they were like Tale could grab his guitar and go over and sing for him. Mm-hmm. Like, if one of them goes back to their time or something, then, you know, and the other one is stuck there, or, you know, that's a whole other issue. That's a whole other, you know, you're not just grabbing a guitar and going to play a song, you know.
It's a miniature separation, a prototype.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the mini worst case scenario. It's like worst case scenario light.
Yeah.
Just a taste of things to come.
Yes.
Potentially.
So
yeah. So yeah, part 3 already. I noticed that it's a really short bit too, this bit.
it's short, but
So-
have you noticed how romantic this episode is? Like more so than the previous ones.
So I feel like you're like, it's short, but it's sweet.
I don't really remember what's happening in the second part here, because I've since I've noticed this thing with him, you know, getting the guitar and the lotus flower and going to sing to him. I was like, oh my god, you want to serenade him, and so that's all that I could think about when I thought of episode 6. So I'm not sure what else happens here.
What happens next?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see because, I mean, I think it's like 7 minutes something, which is like not a huge amount of time once you factor in that they're probably going to be like 4 or 5 sponsors at the very beginning of the part. It doesn't really, you know, and then of course they've got to have their preview at the end of it for like the next part, and just in case, you know, you can't wait to watch part 4 of, you know, 4, we must tell you everything that happens in it. So it's probably about just under 7 minutes, which is not a huge amount when you think about it to get to a plot point or whatever. So I am curious to see what they're gonna, you know, show here. It always kind of like, especially with this show, I've noticed it because I feel like they have really like split the episodes up in a kind of a really interesting way, in such a way that I've never noticed it before, you know, especially like a lot of them in the beginning were really heavy on the front end of the episode, like 20 minutes or 19 minutes, or like, and I've never noticed that in any other show before. I've noticed that they've sort of stopped doing that now, and there's been a couple episodes where like the last bit's quite long. Like I think the last part of this, I think when I saw it in the playlist, I think it's like 16 minutes or something like that. But it's just interesting to me because obviously when you're editing for something like this, you have to, you know, you can't just cut a scene where it's like, you want to cut it for like the most impact or, you know, whatever. So it's interesting that this is such a small part here, given, you know.
It's like the introduction, the setup of the thing needs to be quite long. And the resolution is not that long.
Yeah. And in the beginning, like few episodes, that was really a thing, I think, because I think probably because they were sort of leaning really heavily into, you know, trying to once again kind of make you understand that this is a different place. This is what they're going, you know, like just to remind you that obviously because this was when it aired, it was like weekly, as to like, you know, don't forget we're in this place and like this here means this and, you know, like whatever. Like, so you were getting that plus like whatever the actual story was for that episode, the lead into that in the first part. Maybe that's why it was such a bigger thing, but now it's starting to shift because obviously more like different things that more things are happening in each episode, and so like different plot points. So yeah, so
but
part
it is really interesting because if you think about it, like even about this episode, we could have had it split at the part where the friends wake up and he's not there and they do that weird thing with the pillow. They could have got it there, and then the second part of the episode could have been him going to Flynn. But they didn't.
Yeah.
They had him go there, and then the second part was about, like, it had a totally different vibe. It was like a different story, basically. It's like each part is a separate story in this. That has a beginning and an end.
Yeah, because even when the friends turn up, when I say friends, I mean up and ow, ooh, ow. I'm just like making noises
up
in my mouth now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
When they turned up and they have this like playful bit at the table and everything. Like they could have split it there too, before they went to them being outside and then the reminiscing and all that.
Maybe it's because of a passage of time. Because, you know, time, there's a lot of time passing that we're not really aware of, because they spend years in this universe, right? And so really each part is a separate story. The story of how they got separated, the story of how they got back together with the group, the story of how they did this thing for the movie, the story of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, it could be passage of time, or as you said, because it's a separate point. Now we're done with this. Now we're moving on to this, or we had to get to this so that now we can get to this. But yeah, and so I'm curious to see what's going to be in these next two bits, as I said, especially this next bit because it's quite short. So
I'm curious to see this theory of mine make sense now.
Well, I feel like you have more chances because you at least know what happened.
I don't.
Your other thing, you said you can't remember.
So long, yeah. And I've been trying hard to forget, and I'm doing a pretty good job at it. I'm discovering that I'm quite good at deceiving myself into thinking something or forgetting something, making myself forget something.
You're tricking yourself into believing that.
But I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Like, you have not seen this before. You do not know. Well, I mean, it's good. Like this, I remember when things like Not Me and that came out, there were lots of people on the timeline on Twitter and stuff saying stuff like, can someone hit me on the head so I can have amnesia so I can watch this scene again, like, for the first time?
Me?
Or,
that was me.
Yeah, well, I saw lots of people, but yeah, well, you were probably the person that I probably saw saying that. But that was the thing that people were saying, and it's like, it is like that sometimes with me, like certain media. Like, there's definitely a few books and stuff that I've read as well, where like I wish I could read them again without knowing. My brain does this really horrible thing, because I love to reread stuff, but my brain does this horrible thing where if I'll be like, oh, I'll read this. I haven't read it for ages. I can't really remember it. As soon as I put my hand on the book, if I'm not thinking about anything else, the whole story like comes back to me like a flashes of like a movie playing in my head, and I'm like, damn it. And then I got to find something else. So I have to do when I pick a book up that I want to reread, I have to make a conscious decision to like think about a bunch of random shit, like, and just be like totally like preoccupying myself. So that like a bit like what you're saying, like kind of tricking myself into like, you don't remember this because otherwise I would still enjoy it. But like part of the reason where I'm like, ooh, I haven't read this for ages, it'll be fun. That part of it gets lost a bit because, you don't have that joy of going, oh yeah, that's right, this is why they did this or whatever. So, yeah. So it's good if you can do that with shows too. Especially if it's a show you really like, you know what I mean, and you want to experience the fun stuff again. Although it is sometimes good if you do remember certain things, because I feel like
it puts things into perspective when you.
It does, it does. I'm finding that with like once again bringing Not Me up again. But I feel like it's fair. We bring up vice versa in the Not Me podcast as well. Sorry, but I feel like it's fun because it gives you like perspective and insight. Like you go, oh yeah, okay, this is totally why this happened here, because later on, because you have that like hindsight, like so that's kind of cool as well. If it's a complicated story or like whatever, it's always fun to get those like to go back and see those things. You and I were talking about it recently as well, in the Dangerous Podcast, in the Dangerous Romance podcast, where we were talking about that scene that I discovered where it looks like a castle with the boxes and everything, with the bully tapping, and that was such a cool thing to like go back and notice later. Whereas like the first time I sort of noticed it, but I didn't get the significance of it until later on, like when Kang was having like downfall kind of moment. So that kind of stuff is really cool. So when you remember stuff like that. So, but yeah, all right, let's watch this next bit and see what happens in these 7 minutes.
Let's go.
All right, go.
Part 3.
Well, so a shitload happened in part 3. In 7 minutes. Actually, it felt really, I don't know, it was weird because
it was the story or the RV, right?
Yeah, but so much happened in this bit, and yet it didn't feel like it was overly short, but it also didn't feel like things had been rammed in, if that makes any sense.
Well, because it was a nice montage. We had a nice montage of them preparing the RV, right?
Yeah.
But
It
let's
was
start
funny,
at the
one of the-
beginning. Okay.
Okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, you start then.
So Tale is sitting alone outside of the Poon's house, thinking about love, remembering his friend's words about not letting the loved person slip through his fingers, and suddenly water is sprinkled on him by someone.
I did actually think it was just like a garden sprinkler for a second. I just thought, like, sometimes you'll be sitting somewhere. I mean, it happened to me a couple of times at uni where I would be sitting on the lawn somewhere, and then suddenly, like, the pop-ups would just come up and, like, start going, and you'd have, like, 20 or 30 people, like, screaming and grabbing their crap and, like, running. Like, why they put them on during the day when people used to, like, sit on the lawn, I don't know. But anyway, at first I just thought it was that. I honestly don't know why, but I was not expecting Poon to be on the other end of the water.
Yeah, he was like trying to get him to snap out of it. Because he was like, again, someone asked him, like, are you in a music video being all sad and dramatic? And he's like, no, it is for the movies. Yeah, and
so full of shit.
Yeah, Poon says he saw him with an awkward face, and he decided, and he started watching him because it is pleasing to the eye. And oh my god, Poon, so much flirting. How much more do you have in you? He's so good at it.
I feel like it's unlimited. He has an unlimited supply of flirting.
Yeah, just when it comes to Tale.
Yes, when it comes to Tale, for sure.
Oh, and it's funny because Tale is like, get lost, and Poon is like, oh, you're asking me to come over. And he's like, tick, 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 tick.
It's like,
it's really cute.
This is totally what you meant, right? No, what you meant? Okay then. It's one of those things. So so we had that, and then we had the bit where he says to him, like, "What are you doing out here anyway?" or something like that, and he and this is one of those things where, once again, it's the language barrier thing, it's a translation thing where I'm not quite sure whether or not it's correct, like, if the subtitles are accurate, but, like, if they are, it's really interesting to me because he says he's helping I'm helping my dad water the plants, right? And so, like, if it's correct, like, in the subtitles, he says my dad, essentially taking ownership of the family members, which is really interesting because we had that before with Tale talking about, like, my brother, my dad, that sort of stuff. And it's interesting to think about it because when they do this with each other, if that's correct, because out of everybody in the world, like anyone else in the world sort of thing, like the two of them, they can be the most real with each other in regards to, like, what is happening in their lives in this situation, because they both know that the family members aren't their family members. Yet they're slowly sliding into this place where they're embracing it, whether it's conscious or unconscious, I don't know.
Isn't it like you said this, and the way I can be the realist with you, realist with each other, but Tale has to call Poon by Pakorn's name.
Yes, that's right. And that's the other thing that's really interesting to me, because we have this bit, where he's, as I said, they're referring to their family members as my dad, my whatever. Like, he says, like, when they talk about the RV, we get the story where he says, my dad, and he said, it used to belong to a friend of my dad's. My dad told me his friend. So in, like, a short amount of time, we get this ownership. And then, as you said, this other thing that I also noticed is Tale calling him Tan. And it's funny, it's like there's no hesitation on Poon's part from hearing that, which to me is really interesting. So it's either just, like, one of those things that it's, like, not a conscious character choice or whatever, like, on Jimmy's part or on the script's part, because, like, in this part in time, and I'm using air quotations, he's playing the character of Tan, like, in this story sort of thing. But if that's not a thing, if it is a conscious, like, part of the storyline, then it's interesting because it's one of two things. One, you mentioned previously the passage of time is a little bit unknown. Like, at this point in time, do we really know how long they've been there for?
Probably more than a year. Well, I'm sure that it's more than a year.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously been a while. It was long enough for them to write a movie, film a movie, post-production a movie. So, you know, even if it was all like on a really short time frame, you would still expect like at least 6 to 12 months, as you said. So, like, after a while, obviously you're going to get used to people calling you by this name if that is the only name that you're giving. You know what I mean? If you're only giving like, for example, Tale and Up and Oo and all that, they only know him as Tan, right? His family call him Tan. So you would get used to it after a while. But, like, that's like 12 months of being called one name out of, like, a whole lifetime of being called your actual name. So, like, the way he responds, like, I noticed it was just one of those things, like, when Tale says to him, Tan, and he just turns around straight away, like, it was like, you know, straight away it was like, you're like, yeah, like, what, or like, whatever. Whereas I feel like, I don't know, I don't know how long would it take you for you not to be, like, not always hearing, you know, when someone calls you by...
He's also an actor. But
True,
the interesting thing is that the interesting thing in this, I think, is the fact that he wants to get Tale to be attached to him. He wants to keep him close. He wants to be intimate with him, obviously. And a way to do that is to have that person know your name. Unless you don't really plan on using your name.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. This is what the point I was kind of slowly working my way towards.
Sorry.
Was I felt slowly. Shut up.
I said sorry.
I thought you said slowly, and then you were like laughing because it's taking me forever. I thought you were mocking me. That's why I said shut up. I take it back. You were just okay. Anyway, was that there's two reasons why I feel like it's easy for him to respond to being called Tan, especially in that way from Tale. I feel like he's so what's the word I'm looking for? Like, zoned in on Tale that, like, even if Tale called him a pink donkey, he'd be like, what? because like, I don't know where the pink donkey analogy came from. I apologize for that. But, like, just because Tale spoke to him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
his ears perk up at everything, Tale.
Yeah. It's like the only other thing I can think of is there's a bit similar is like when Gun calls off Puppy, and, like, straight away, like, he can be doing whatever and he's just like, yep. Like, it's like this Pavlovian response. So I feel like for him it's like it's Tale's voice, not necessarily what he's saying, but also, as you said, this idea of, like, he is I mentioned I thought it was interesting how they seem to be adopting the families, and, you know, like, they're getting used to, they're settling into into the skins of the people that they're in, kind of thing, and all that entails. But for Pun, because he's even more so in that way, like, he's really leaning into it, like, he doesn't want to be Pun anymore. So for him to become Tale, it's more comfortable anyway. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like this is the role he was born to play.
This is so funny, because if you think about it, what's happening here is that Pun is adopting this other role, right? He's trying to escape his old life. And knowing what's going to happen, oh my god, how do I say it without spoiling? I don't think there's a way to say this without spoiling. Anyway, what I'm seeing here is that he's escaping his life, right? And Tale is afraid to get attached to anything, right?
Yeah.
But he's slowly starting to get attached and start being brave, even though there's this possibility, and even not the possibility, but certainty that he's going to lose these things. He's going to lose the RV, this dream that he had. He's going to lose the friends. He's going to lose probably this bond with Pun, especially because Pun is not telling him his name. He's holding back. And he's learning to trust and give and leave, even though he's afraid of losing all these things. So what do you think must happen for them to get back? like, oh my god, I want to say something, but it's going to spoil everything.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Like, I want you to, but don't say it. I feel like this is, yeah, I feel like it's kind of like what I was saying in that, you know, he's essentially playing another role.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you said, it's important, I think, what you said before about, like, don't forget he's an actor. So I feel like at a certain point in time, and I could be wrong about this, and your silence will be deafening when I finish talking.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I feel like at a certain point, obviously, like, Tully's going to have to start to ask himself, like, where does the act end and the real, like, Pun, I guess, begin? Because, you know, like, Pun is trying to be himself, but, like, not himself at all because he doesn't want to be himself. But it's just, like, how do you maintain that connection and build a real relationship when, you know, like, it's one thing to try and, like, slide in and fit into this role, which is, like, what Tale is doing, because he doesn't really have a choice. Like, he's embraced his, I guess, situation, but he hasn't really changed who he is or anything. Like, you know, he's still him. You know what I mean? Like, he's still at the core of him. He's trying to be as honest as possible. As you said, he really is doesn't want to, or is afraid, or like whatever, but is slowly leaning into making these connections, even though, like, potentially he knows it's going to end badly or whatever. But Pun is like, it's almost like he is avoiding the very possibility of all of that. Like, he is just, like, if he can make, I don't know what his thought process is, but, like, it's almost like he feels like if he can maintain this, like, facade of, Tun, if he can live Tun to, like, his best, like, version of him or whatever, then he won't have to change anything. But yet the whole point is to get back, right? The whole thing that, like, this person that he's trying to cling to wants to do is get back. So, I mean, obviously, it's something big is going to happen, because they can't maintain this, even though it's heading to this place where it's looking really sweet and romantic, and they're going to have a relationship, and, like, you can feel it all coming. It's all overshadowed by the fact that, you know, at some point something's going to happen that is going to fuck it all up majorly.
You know, they set up a very big thing for Tale here, and I think they but they revealed Tale's journey and lesson in this episode. And this is the line that friend told him. Like, it doesn't matter, it's not important. What was the line, Zoe? Like,
don't be afraid to fall, be afraid to let the person slip away, or something. Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about that line or something else?
Kind of. What I'm trying to say is that his lesson is to not be afraid to try to leave.
Yeah.
Even if there's a possibility that he can lose what he loves.
Even if you know it's not going to work out, or it might not work out, that's
even
not
if you know, even if you know that it's going to end, if it's beautiful, if, you know, it's worth it.
It's worth, yeah.
Yeah. And so this is what he starts to accept. Even with this thing with the RV, it was his dream, right? He knew that, and he knows he's going to lose this, but he is not afraid to do it anymore, even though it's going to end, and it's not going to be the way he wants it to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing, because the only way to maintain that is if they stay there. Yeah. You know, like, I mean, sure.
And if you think about it, with Pun is not giving him his name. In his mind, Tale thinks, well, maybe I think this will end. And if he decides to be with him, to open up to him, to cling to him, to, you know, to just fall, to do this free fall into love, then it's the same thing. Like, he knows he's going to lose it, but he's going to live through it anyway. Which is something that he did not dare do in his old life.
No, well, that's right. And I think there's another lesson in it too. Like, it's not really, like, it's not really sort of said here, but, like, you can also take away, and maybe this is something that will come into it later, or not, or maybe not, but, like, just for viewers' sake, that this dream that he had with the RV, and he says, like, I also thought, like, when I would get old, I would just, like, travel around in it, or, like, whatever. He says this thing, and now it's like, this is an opportunity. So he's taking this opportunity, which is essentially what you just said. He's taking the chance to fulfill it in this moment. As you said, even though knowing that potentially if he goes back, well, he can't take the RV with him. But then there is the other thing, that just because he can't take this RV with him, it doesn't mean that he can't create a similar situation back in his world. He could get a different RV, make different memories,
and it doesn't make
this
experience less valuable.
That's right. It just makes it different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's an interesting point too. But and then of course we had the bit where he had his lovely drawing. So like his artistry is always fun. And the building montage, which was absolutely hilariously adorable. And we had Pun say about like how it was missing someone who's willing to travel with you for the rest of your life. Like there's so many moments once again in this bit where he's trying to convey his feelings, but like as you said, he essentially has put a wall up between them by, as you said, not sharing his name, like by building. They're building two different lives.
But like, does it matter if Talay is learning to accept it the way it is, accept the imperfections, and accept the fact that it's going to end anyway?
That will depend, I feel like, on several things, and one of those being like, what lessons does Pun learn out of all of this? I feel like that will factor into how Talay responds and how things get put back together again. Because like it's if he has that growth going.
Mm-hmm. This is something that has kept him apart, but not even really this. This is not really something that kept. What kept Talay apart was the idea of portkeys, the idea of destiny, the idea that this is not meant to be, right? That they are going to.
Yeah, he was focused on that. Now he's let that go.
Yeah, and he kind of has he though. I mean, that kept him apart, and then there's this thing with the name, but it's not the only thing. Like, it's a part of the whole picture, it's a brick in the wall.
Yeah.
But if Talay learns to just climb over the wall, if this is his lesson, and just continue going, then the wall will not stop him.
No, that's right. But as I said, like but that's his story. That's his journey, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What is Pun learning? Is my
what do you think he's learning,
or what he will learn?
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I need more before I really sort of say, because I feel like at the moment he's not learning. He like it's interesting because, and it could just be. It kind of makes sense a little bit because obviously their trauma is different, but also Talay has been in this world longer than Pun too, so he's a little bit ahead, I feel like, if that makes any sense. So I feel like he is learning and making changes in a way that is, like, in a positive way, that is ahead of where Pun is. I don't think Pun is in the same place yet, like not in a positive way.
He's not in the same place. Well, he is changing. But
he is, but not at the same.
But because
the same way, I think.
Because of the fact that he is not very honest.
Yeah.
Besides the name, he's also he's not sharing anything. Like, what do we know about him? Even when that actress friend Pran, or what was her name, was trying to share things with Talay, he was trying to stop her. He didn't want to bring his whole life into this world.
Into this new world, that's right, yeah. And it's, as you said, it's not just his name, it's like, it's almost like his whole identity, because he doesn't want any of the bad stuff touching the good stuff, essentially. And I feel like but that also factors into like whatever hang-ups he has about his old self, because he doesn't want Talay's impression of him, I guess, being tainted by anything that he might find out from the old life, and that's not sustainable. Not if they're going to stay together. Not like, I know, like you're saying, Tale's learning this lesson to climb over the wall, but from Puin's point of view, if he is just going to keep building the wall higher, you know, like how long do you climb before you give up? Like, obviously you know the end of the story, so you know what happens, but I mean, like, from just from a conversational point, like from a relationship standpoint, like, if you have two people where one person is like learning that, okay, we can overcome these obstacles, but then the other person keeps putting obstacles in their way, like, how long before you give up? Like, how long before you decide it's too hard?
That, and also, like, Tale keeps saying, Portki, going back, like, let's find this, let's find that, and Poon is like, sure, yeah. And he completely disregards this.
Yeah, instead of having a conversation where he says, because this is, like, honestly, this time where they're starting to, like, head in this direction, this is really the time where he should be saying, I'm not sure if I want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he might not have a choice. Like, once again, I'm bringing the other characters into it, but Tun could come back, and then he has no choice. He has to go back whether he wants to or not. Like, so it's like, but, you know, he can't even voice the fact that, like, yeah, maybe I don't want to. Like, this life is better. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing to say in this position. Like, I mean, obviously, like, Tale is not going to necessarily agree with him, but Puin's reasons for that, like, you tell your reasons, like, this is why it's better here. Like, it's better here because I have you. It's better here because, you know, I don't feel this way, or I don't feel that way, or like whatever. But he's not sharing any of that. So that's that he's creating these obstacles. So I am very interested to see, like, how this all comes about, because I vaguely remember some things you were telling me about, like, when they go back to their world and stuff. But I don't remember a lot of what you said. Like, I remember there's something to do with the hats and the llamas and the alpacas and and all that sort of stuff, because I remember you bringing it up. But I don't remember the context of all of it, and I don't know, like, exactly what, like, obstacles are going to be there. Like, I mean, there's some obvious ones that I can obviously, you know, see are potentially going to be there, but I don't know. Like, and so, and I don't, it's funny, I for our listeners, I watched the Owl Sky for Vice Versa, which is hilarious because I didn't watch the show. So, I don't really know why I watched the Owl Sky, but I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute, but I don't remember any of it. So, I'm curious to see how that plays into this story as a whole as well, like, based on, like, what happened and the universe they were in, because I can't actually remember who the friends were and think I do not remember who was in it besides them. So yeah, I'm curious to go back and watch that as well. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things, like, as I said, this was an interesting, like, 7 odd minutes, because a lot happened, a lot was said here. You know, like, he did the thing where he was like, someone who's willing to travel you through the rest of your life. Now, it was such a mic drop kind of moment where, like, he was just like, drew the picture.
Oh, he had a lot of mic drops in this part.
Yeah. But it was like, it's obviously like he was like, you know, like, drew the smiling picture, which is obviously meant to be him. Drops the pen on the hat, like, and it definitely felt like a mic drop. Like, it definitely felt like a mic drop moment. And but it wasn't flirty. It was like, just, this is fact. You need this. You should have this. This is what the future should look like. This is the future I'm committed to. So it's funny, in this moment, like, Tale is like, oh, this is something I really want. Here's a picture of my future dream. If it happens in this way here, okay. If it doesn't, well, like, we tried, whatever. And Puin is like, yes, I'm totally on board. Let's do this. I'm happy if we do this. Let's get in this RV and, like, just drive forever until we're old. Like, don't deviate from that. Like, it's like, he's like, this is a comforting thing.
I'm just thinking, I had this thought, like, Tale did not dare to be happy, right?
Yeah.
He needs courage to dare to be happy. For Puin, he did not really have happiness. He did not know happiness. And he discovered that his happiness is to make Tale happy.
Yeah, and it's often like that in relationships with people. Sorry, I started laughing while you were talking. I did not think what you were saying was funny. I thought it was interesting. I touched the cat thing that I got earlier today. I got this toy, everybody, and it just started purring. It's like really loud. I was like, okay, that's weird. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? There's usually someone in like it's often that one person in a relationship will fall into that role. If you're in a really healthy relationship, you play off, like you take turns of like making each other happy. But like often there'll be someone who is like that's how they get their joy. Like that is their love language.
Because I feel like
making the other person happy.
Yeah, but the thing is, like for Talay, there are certain things, certain dreams. Like he has a list of things what he wants to do. Like his film to be played at the festival, for to have an RV, to blah blah blah, right? Poon doesn't really have that, right? He didn't have anything.
Yeah. No.
And now he finds Talay. And it feels like as long, maybe that he will realize that as long as he has Talay, he can be happy. Even if the other things in his life do not bring him happiness.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all we need though. But then that's it's like it's one of those things, isn't it, where it's like, that's a dangerous thing as well, putting that all on one person.
And if that person
it's a lot.
Is someone like Talay, I think you can rely. He's a reliable person. Like he can make it one of his goals to help Poon find joy in other things as well.
Yeah. You're right. He's the right kind of person where it would
to fall in love like this with.
You could, you could do this. He would withstand it. Whereas, like, I feel like when it becomes
he would not take advantage of this.
Yeah, if when it becomes a toxic characteristic in a relationship is because either one person takes advantage of it or they don't want it. Like the person who you're trying to put all that on doesn't want it, and so they feel suffocated, and then that's what eventually will destroy the relationship. And it probably comes back a little bit to what you've been saying all along, is like when they first met, and that when he was like, like I can be your person. So he's essentially told him that from day one, that I can be that person for you. So like whatever it means, whatever you need, and I will try and fulfill it. So like he has already kind of, I guess, like pledged to be that person for Poon. So it's not unreasonable that he's like leaning into that. But at the same time, like boy needs to be way more honest with what's going on here.
He's not ready.
But it's funny because I say
small
that because
steps.
like this. Would you say small
steps?
Minuscule.
He's getting there. Be patient.
Microscopic steps.
He's going to the right direction. It's cool. It's cool.
But it's funny because in this, as I said, such a small part. But there's the other really important bit that I feel like happens here, and it's, as I said, that part for me didn't feel like a flirt. It just felt like he was like, this is what's missing from both of our lives. Let's do it, kind of thing. Whereas like when they're talking about using their story, this idea.
Oh, but before that, I think another thing that's important, I think, is the pink trumpet tree.
The love
and
tree,
good wishes.
I really want to call it the love bush.
Yeah, because a tree has roots. Yeah, so it's pretty symbolic. Like besides the fact that it's pink, it's about their love. It's obviously him telling this what's happening here. It's about us. It's not about the movie. It's not about the friendship. This what I'm doing here and what is going on, it's all about our feelings, my feelings for you. But also the fact that it's a tree that grows very big, and like it should have roots. It has to go into the ground, which is something that is stable, which means that he wants to stay there. But it keeps growing, and if you plant it in an RV, it's really not very comfortable. Like you have to trim it, and not really sustainable. It's not really the way things should work, right?
Well, that's right. Well, putting it in an RV where it's going to move around, it's not going to get the roots that it should have.
Mhm.
So it's a temporary thing. It's not a
Yeah.
permanent thing. So
See?
there's almost like two things being put down here. Like, you know, he's afraid to put roots down too, but even though he clearly wants it.
I think he wants to plant this tree in this place, in this world, but he cannot because Talay doesn't want to. Talay would not accept to just stay here.
Oh no, I understand that too, but like the idea, but it's his suggestion to put it on the RV, not Talay's. So like Talay doesn't even want it on the RV initially. So like it's like, is this his way of like settling?
I think so.
Like Pun's way of settling, like, you know, like, okay, we can't put it down, but we'll just carry it around with us until like maybe we can.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think this is what's supposed to be. Oh my god, but the look he gives him after Talay picks up the tree. Did you see that? Did you see that?
You're so funny.
It's not me, it's them, okay? I'm okay. I have a reasonable reaction. This is normal.
She's like, I did nothing. It totally wasn't me. But yeah, no, and you're right, I did sort of skip that bit to go to the bit where they're talking about making the
story about them.
Life.
Yeah. About himself, actually, because he tells a story from his point of view. He arrives into this world lonely, kind of afraid, and then he finds someone who helps him.
Yeah. And it's funny too because of course then they get interrupted, and I love how like it's like, how does it the mother's got great timing about how Talay says like, how does it end, sort of thing, and it's like I didn't think we were going to get a resolution from that. I thought, well, that's an interesting lead into like what's going to happen in the future. But then of course, no, Flirty Boy comes in and he's like, I laughed so hard when he sort of said to him, in the end they fall in love with each other. And I was just like, nah.
Another mic drop.
Yeah, another mic drop. That's right. And because like Talay's like, what? And then the photo got
he nods. At first he nods. He's like, and then what?
But yeah, I laughed so hard. Well, because the funny thing is that this bit here is like, you know, it's like him. It's like Pun giving him an answer to like how the movie ends, whatever. But like this is that he's already established that this is their story, because he says like, why don't we tell our story? And it's like, so like their story is they fall in love.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Amazing.
So yeah,
good job. I'm impressed
because it's their story. So yeah, it was definitely a fun little 7 minutes, that's for sure. So now I'm interested to see what happens next. So should we go and check it out, or did you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Part 4. Zoe, oh my god, I forgot that this happens in this episode. So I, like, when I realized where that was going, I was like, oh my god, yellow. Remember we were talking about yellow and how it's fear and it's also happiness. I'm like, oh, this is going like all the way into the fear thing. It's about life and death even.
Yeah.
Yellow. How are you feeling?
Yep. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm also not surprised because we had been told previously in the narrative that this could happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not I'm not surprised.
And also I mentioned it and I was like, oh, wink, wink, death is coming our way.
Yeah. It's funny because, not funny, but like what did surprise me was Dole, the nurse, acted so well in this scene, like the, I guess, funeral scene. I was really impressed. I think I said in the last podcast that we did that like her character, the nurse's character, their character seems more like a person to me, and even more
Grounded.
so in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in this scene, did they feel
reality.
real?
Yeah, grounded in reality. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, so
Please
it
begin.
starts with Talay looking at the picture of them. And we had this stressful music, so this is obviously not a pleasant experience. He's not having good thoughts right now. Or maybe he's having good thoughts, but it's weird. It's stressful.
It's overshadowed. Yeah. The funny thing is, for me, like when they show, like they kind of like, I guess, zoomed into the photo, this picture will always be the what photo to me, because like it was taken right where he was like, what?
Yeah, and the thing is that in the pictures, he sees Tan and Tess's real faces. He's looking at the picture and he does not see his face, right? He does not see Poon's face.
Oh,
I'm like, Poon.
I never noticed that.
You did notice, but did you notice that when Poon took a picture and he looked at the picture in his phone, he saw Talay's real face and his face.
Okay, that's interesting.
Isn't it? Because like for Talay, this is an issue. He sees the reality. For it's something that he cannot accept or overcome, right?
Yeah.
While Poon, he sees what he wants to see.
Yeah, he's seeing, like, I guess, their insides. Sounds really wrong, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
He's overlooking the fact that they're not in their real lives, in their real bodies.
Yeah. And because we talked about that, like how weird it would be to fall in love with somebody, like, and not, I guess, be hung up on this, like, on the meat suit.
Yeah. So
to it that way.
So Talay is looking at the picture, and it's not pleasant because the fact that he's not seeing Poon's real face and his real face is an issue for him.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I have to go back and see that. I did not notice. I did not notice that it was Om and Nanon instead.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How did I know? I think because my brain went, what photo?
Yeah, because like he leans back and he's stressed. Like it's not a good thing that's happening on screen. And the music is like when the thing that is going on screen is kind of wrong. That was the vibe that the music was giving. Yeah,
it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think to notice on a second rewatch.
Yeah. Did you notice that the first time you watched it?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But on like one of the many times afterwards, you definitely did.
Listen, I haven't seen it that many times. I haven't seen it. I saw it. I saw it once when I tried to watch it when it was airing, and I dropped it, right? And then I tried another time, but I was not serious about it after watching Last Twilight, because I was interested. But I was not serious, and I had prejudice against it, right? Because of the first time I saw it. And I started skipping, but then somehow I got to some moments that were really good, and I got excited, and then I watched it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I really got into it, and I got obsessed with it. So not that many times.
Mm.
And then I started watching it one more time, but we agreed to do the podcast, and I dropped it.
I thought you watched it with your friend, or was that Last Twilight you watched with your friend?
No, that was Last Twilight. Last Twilight, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, there you go. That's less times than I thought. Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe you watched certain episodes more than once, though, did you?
Certain moments, yeah. I rewatched certain moments.
Mm.
But those are not necessarily moments like this.
Oh, well, obviously, yeah. You're going to watch the moments that give you the warm fuzzies, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is a conversation for later. I'm like, when we're finished, I'm going to like, okay, what were the warm fuzzy moments for you?
But, the moment that got me really excited about this series, the moment when I really fell in love with it, was episode 6. And it was the moment when he went to play, to sing the song for him with the guitar and the lotus flower.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know me, he had me at lotus flower.
While I was watching it unseriously, I was skipping, and then I saw this and I was like, oh my god, did this just happen? Is this really happening? Because I remember sending you a voice message. I was like, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe they're doing this. This is so romantic, and like, gonna use the expression unapologetically romantic again because I don't know what else to call it.
And I probably listened to it when she's lost her mind again.
I believe it
Down
I
the
did
spiral
sound like
she
it. Yeah.
goes.
Mm-hmm. So they get a call.
Or it might have been one of those messages where it was like just basically animal noises, and I could not understand what you were saying, and I was just like,
it is a possibility. Yeah. Maybe.
Because there were a few of those. I was just like, and then you would say to me like, "Oh, didn't you listen to my message?" I listened to it, but I need like a translator and like maybe.
Please! You usually understand me much better than I understand myself. You were just not really into vice versa, so you were like, she's like, doing her thing.
I understand it all. I understand it. Oh my god, bad English. I understood all of it except the random like animal noises.
Mm-hmm.
Those I needed like a medium.
Yeah,
or
yes,
for.
Sure, of course.
A translator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
the really fun bit.
They get a call and they get invited to the association because they're making a guide video for Universal travelers.
Just like that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But it's probably a good idea.
Yeah. And so they are asked as, movie people to film it, to set everything up. And they start fighting like boyfriends. And Pidol, I mean more so Jubjang, is fangirling and shipping them.
Yes. And it's interesting because she's like, oh, this is like what boyfriends would do. And then they were like, oh, but would boyfriends do this? Boyfriends wouldn't do this.
Yeah. And they
like,
escalate.
Really trying to convince right now.
And they escalate further and further into boyfriendism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boyfriendism.
Yeah. So, and then they ask them to give an interview. And I'm like, yeah, this is, how they're going to call that part of the interview?
No, how are they going to call it?
Portkeys boyfriend, but in stupid. Because they still don't know. Everyone knows but them.
Yeah.
This is how it looks.
It does. It's funny because the way they are talking about each other and the way they like are looking at each other as well, and like Poon with his like the light to my life or whatever it was he said. It's like it's very much like you would be watching this going like, okay, so they're dating, but like, how do I find my
they are in love with each other. That's clear. Okay, thank you for the movie. Yeah. What do I do now? Yeah, find your own lover, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's.
What is interesting is how Tale presents himself. He's like, I'm Tale, I'm a colorist, and Poon presents himself as Chan, an actor. He doesn't even hesitate. Again, he does not hesitate. He does not say, my name is actually different, or blah, blah, blah. He's just, I'm Chan, hello.
Yeah. He's like, I'm really not sharing.
Yeah. No, but he's not sharing, but also he is Chan. A continuation of what you said before about him just not...
he's embraced that,
Not, like, here, this is the good... Like, this is... You should have waited for this part, because what you said applies to this so much more, because he did not hesitate to call himself Tan in front of, like, for these people who know about the universal traveling thing. And he's like, I'm Tan.
Yeah. And it's funny because it must seem weird. Like, if you're one of these people, I mean, it would be pretty rare to have someone come into this, like, be a universal traveler or whatever, you meet them and they don't want to tell you who they are, like, that's weird. Like, unless you're like a serial killer or something and you're on the run, like,
or if you plan to do something nasty in this life and you don't want anyone to know once you go back.
That's right. If you go back, it's like it'd be very unusual and very uncommon for people not to say who they were and not to try and cling to that, because like all you have is your identity, whereas like everything else is stripped, like your family, your life, your body, like everything else is gone mentally, and like what you can tell people about yourself is all you have, and to not share that is like would be very unusual. So like the people who are part of the association or whatever, like I feel like they have to feel like this is weird. They have to think that this is weird. I mean, obviously maybe it might have happened before, but as you said, for like one of the aforementioned reasons, but it's like, you know, having your name on like a community phone list or something, like, you know, like having your number. So like say you lived in a building, like an apartment building or something, and management says to you, oh, look, we're going to put a phone list out so that, you know, in an emergency you guys can call each other if you want, or like if you make friends or like whatever, you've got people in the building's number, like you can call them. And you have the choice of saying like, oh no, I don't want my number on there, and so they just list you as silent or whatever. Or you can choose to have your number on there because you're a social person, or maybe, you know, like you want to be able to have that safety of if you had to call somebody or like whatever, you know, you want to be there for other people, whatever reason. But then like you get so this is how it's always been, you know, like you have a phone list. Your number's either on it or it's not, depending on like how private you are, okay, right? But then you get someone who moves into the building and they're like, oh no, I don't want my name on there either. Like, I don't want anyone to know I live in this building. Like, they're gonna find out, maybe not your name, but like, you know, like you live in this building, other people live in this building, but like, it's this idea of, you know, like, no, I don't want to do that, which is fine. It's not against the rules. But it's out of the ordinary. Do you know what I mean? Like, most people are like, would be okay with having their name on the list because, like, depending on how the building is run, maybe there are mailboxes, usually your name's on the mailbox, like, whatever. Like, that's...
Yeah, you think, well, that person has some agenda.
Yeah,
they have some reason.
Yeah, for that. Which is fine, because maybe something bad happened to them in the past, you know, and so they're afraid of putting themselves out there or, like, whatever. But, like, from a building...
Or that they don't want to be a part of whatever is happening, the situation where their name is used.
Yeah.
And what's happening here is, you know, the association where people support each other and try to get back into the original world where they came from.
Exactly, yeah. But, I mean, what I'm saying is from the association standpoint, like, or from, like, the building, like, my analogy, the building management standpoint, like, you know, this is the way it's always been, and then suddenly someone's like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Like, it would be weird because it's not part of the norm. So they don't really mention the fact that it's weird, really, but it would be weird, I would imagine. Like, what he's doing would be unusual, because I feel like human nature would be like, I am this person, don't forget.
Well, that they cannot,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they cannot force him to do anything.
Oh, of course
and plus, like, it's obvious that he found Tale, and that's all that he needs.
Yeah, because I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like with the phone list analogy, like it's not against the rules. You don't have to be on there. Like, but it's like the first time someone's gone, oh no, I don't want to be on there or whatever. Like in this instance, like. It would still be weird though, because as I said, I feel like they would have seen many people come through, and like the one thing most people would be clinging to would be their past, and like the only way to do that in this environment to keep your identity is like your name would be a huge part of that.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that is like he's standing firm to that.
Yeah, and the other things that they're saying are also very interesting. So he says, at first he was shocked, but then he was glad because he didn't have to work. And then Tale...
he didn't have to work so hard anymore.
And then Tale said he was stressed, but then he was lucky he met Tan. And then Poon says the thing. He's the light that saved me. And I'm like, we were theorizing that, it's not said outright that like he did not care about his life and that like he was depressed or anything, or that when he got into that car crash, when he was drunk, that, things were really, really bad and he didn't want to leave. It's not said, it's not explicitly delivered to us on a silver platter, but this line proves that we were right.
It's very much implied, I feel.
Yeah, and that Talay is the thing that saved him, and that Talay is his happiness, and that,
Well, the fact that he refers to him as a light, the fact that he refers to him as a light means that before that, his existence was darkness.
Opposed to the blackness, opposed to, darkness. And then he says, thank you. And again, coming back to the discussion that we had previously, Talay just accepts the thank you. The way he just accepts the thank you. Like, it does not overwhelm him. He does not try to be like, oh no, it's not me. Oh no, it's too much. He just accepts it. Because we were talking about how if someone puts that responsibility on you of you being their happiness, that's too much, and that might transform into something
toxic or negative.
Toxic or anything, yeah. But Talay's reaction here is very calm. He's very He
doesn't see it that way.
Yeah. Or at least he doesn't see a problem right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get the scene where they part, and Talay says Jubjang is so nice, and
it's like having another mother.
Yeah, Boon says felt like having a mom. I don't know if he says another, because
I think he does, because he's referring, but in the another mother bit, he's referring to Tom's mom.
And then they part ways. They go into opposite directions, and Talay stops to look back after Jubjang and Vidal for a moment. And then we get a part of Jubjang's speech where she addresses all universal travelers and says that because Talay is thinking back, that Talay is reminiscing and thinking about the reason why they're there, because she mentioned she believed that it happened for a reason. And he asks Boon, why does Boon think they traveled between universes?
Yeah, what do you think we travel between universes to learn? Yeah.
And Boon's response, I don't know, we must stay here longer to learn.
Yeah. It's like he reminds me of like that little kid who's like being told it's bedtime and they're like, 5 minutes more. Like, he's not ready yet.
He's not.
He has no intention of going anywhere just yet.
I know, right? Yeah. And then he says, maybe I'm here to meet you.
Yeah, what he actually said was, maybe I traveled through universes just to meet you. It's very romantic. It's very, very romantic. And it's like, it's interesting because this whole thing that happens here where he says, like, about staying long, like, he clearly wants to stay longer, like, maybe
and he clearly doesn't want to go back at all.
No, that's right. And we see this here, and then later on he says something else as well, which I'll talk about when we get to it, but, like, he keeps saying things or indicating that, like, this is his intention, this is his feeling, this is his want, his need, his desire, whatever. And he's, even though, like, this thing that happens is a blatant reminder that you have absolutely no control in regards to certain aspects of any universe, including this one. He's like, it's like he's like not oblivious to it, but he's ignoring it as a fact. Like, he's just like, I don't accept this.
Or maybe he's like, this is worth it. The risk is worth it for him.
I don't so much know that it's that because he speaks with such confidence. I feel like maybe my conversation isn't making sense here because we haven't actually spoken about the bits that are leading me to this. But yeah, I'll touch back on it in a minute. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting that he says this because maybe I'm here to meet you. Because even if there's, like, we think there's a reason, like, they have to change as people, right? That is the reason for them to change and learn a lesson. But what helps them get to that lesson is meeting each other. The fact that they have each other in this life. So it's
interesting.
True.
It's interesting though too because they did meet. Like, it's funny. Like in their universe, like their universe was throwing them together. Like, they kept meeting. Like,
yeah, but we talked about it. The fact that they just did not, like their universe was giving them signs. Here, come together. And they were like, no, we're,
It's like, what's that saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like, it was definitely like that kind of thing. Like, the universe kept going. It's like that meme, where the person, the shipper is holding the two people, or like the child is holding the two dolls, and it has like the caption that says, now kiss.
Yeah.
It was like that, the universe is like putting them in this position to engage with one another, and instead they're just like, well, what's happening tomorrow?
Yeah, because they couldn't. The circumstances, I guess, weren't right for them to learn their lesson.
Well, they neither of them could see past their own shit. Essentially, let's be honest.
Yes.
Like, for Tale, he was focused on his own wants and needs, and that was his career and his job and like whatever else. And for Poon, whatever, like, oh, woe is me self-reflection that he was having was, like, overshadowing everything else. Like, he clearly obviously had a moment when he met Tale in the bathroom, and then again on the set, where he had, like you could tell that something about Tale made him smile, made him, like, have, like, a glimmer of, like, amusement,
maybe
or like whatever.
Maybe the thought that he had was like, oh, maybe in another life.
Yeah, exactly. Like the attention or the attraction was there, but it was like it was so smothered beneath like his own, self-pessimistic, like, self-fulfilling prophecy of like everything is shit. And maybe that would have been different if Tale had pursued him or something, but because Tale was so like distracted as well.
Tale was like, afraid of love. Tale was afraid of getting emotionally invested in things.
Yeah, I feel like Poon's thing may have been like, wow, he shines so bright, but it's not for me. Like, it's clearly, it's like
he couldn't trust it.
I'm just a spectator. He's not shining for me because he wasn't getting the attention back, sort of thing. So, yeah. And
but also look, he is a person who has no family, has no support system. He's an actor, a famous person in an industry that's quite cruel. He probably had experiences where he tried to trust people, tried to get them close, but it's worked against him. He did not really have a personal life because since he was young, he had to work to support himself. He did not know how to cope with things. He never learned to interact and create relationships with people. So, what could he have done? Like, he did not have Tale to teach him how to get out of that situation, so he only sung.
He didn't have Tale. He had to teach him to be a real boy.
Yeah.
As we mentioned in the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, and then we have the scene where they're basically flirting with KFC.
Yes, and then the pictures, taking pictures, and...
Yeah. And
which is interesting because if you remember in episode, 3 or 2, Poon acted in he had a trigger when it came to taking pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if you notice in this as well, he zooms in so that you can only see Tale. Like, he takes himself out of the picture. Did you notice that?
I don't think I did. I didn't.
Sorry?
I didn't.
You didn't?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So, like, he's looking at the picture of them on the phone, and then he, like, zooms in and centers it, so all you see is Tale. You don't see him in the photo at all. Which is not uncommon when you have feelings for somebody, but it is also, given the fact that we know he has these issues, it was an interesting thing. Like, I noticed it because I was like, wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a friend who had, like, you know, like, image issues, like, self-image issues, and her and I studied photography together, and we would take photos, like, mainly of nature and stuff, like, because that's the kind of stuff that, like, interests me. Probably, I don't know whether it interests her or not, but that's just what we tended to do when we were together. But if we were in a group of friends or something, we would take pictures of, like, our friends and stuff. And occasionally you would get dragged into, like, a photo where they're like, oh, no, you know, you guys are always taking the photos. You should be in the photos.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would take photos, and almost without fail, like, you would go to her house or something, and the pictures would be blown up, and they would be lovely. But, like, there had been 4 people in that photo, and there was only 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she would take herself out of the picture. And it was always, like, to me, I didn't realize at the time that she had these issues. It was later on. But when I remember when we found out, and that she was having, like, struggling with this, to me, when I thought back, I was like, oh my God, Zoe, that was such a red flag. Like, it was such a, like, an alarm bell. Like, I remember looking at the picture and being like, why did she do that? Why? That's weird. I don't like having my photo taken either. So, like, I mean, from my thing, I was like, oh, I get that. But, like, it was deeper than that for her. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I hate it when people take my photo. You know, it was like, the photo was like a visual representation of everything she hated of herself. Like, whereas I would just be like, oh, in that moment I looked gross, not like, oh, I look gross all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's a different mindset.
Yeah.
And so, because I don't know, something weird happens to me when people take my photo. One, I think we have this perceived idea of, like, our own self, like, what we think we look like. And sometimes we're accurate, and other times it's like our ego is more inflated. Like, we think we're better looking than we are, or like whatever. Or the things that we like about ourselves or don't like about ourselves reflect differently when we actually see it in, you know, in print. But often it's like, for me, I did something to my, like, mouth when I was a kid, and I had to wait for a really long time to get the, like, my teeth fixed. And so I stopped smiling. Like, I would take photos, and there would be a photo, like, at someone's birthday party, there'd be, like, all these people smiling, and I would look like I was about to murder somebody in the background, like, so serious and so, like, you know, it's like, oh my God, who like stole that 12-year-old's, like, soul? Like, it was that kind of, you know, situation for like a year or something. And then I finally got it fixed, and it was like the first photo I took, I looked like a crazy psychotic person because I had forgotten to smile like, how to smile on command. So the only time I look good in photos these days is if, like, someone manages to catch me, like, mid-laugh, because it's genuine. You know, it's a real representation of joy or, like, whatever. Otherwise, I look like a creepy weirdo. I look like that cousin or that friend or whatever that, like, you have to invite, but no one actually really wants at the party. Like, that's the person I look like.
Come on, I doubt it's that bad. Come on.
Oh, it's the creepiest, weirdest face.
Yeah.
And it gets worse the more I try to avoid doing it. It gets worse. And it's like, I will try and do the non-smile thing, and people are like, smile! And I'm like, no, you don't want that.
Make me.
And so, like, you know, I had that kind of thing, you know, which is why I don't like having my photo taken, but it was never about, oh, I think I'm really whatever. Like, I don't really look at myself and think one way or the other. I don't go, oh, well, yes, I'm, you know, attractive or I'm ugly or whatever. But, like, this thing that this person did was clearly a representation of how they felt all the time. Like, it was so abhorrent to them to even look at themselves that they had to remove themselves. So it stood out to me because of that. So whether or not it's intentional or whether it's just him zooming in because he's like, oh, he's so pretty. It could be one or the other, honestly, or it could be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I think several things are happening here. Him looking at Tale and being obsessed with Tale. The second is he doesn't really want to see himself. The third is that he got that comfortable enough with Talay. He trusts him and he does not get triggered by taking a picture. And also probably that he managed to dissociate himself, his real personality from this role that he's playing, from, this other life, so much that it doesn't bother him anymore when people take his picture.
Because he's not putting his
he's not himself. Yeah.
He's not putting his Talay and then he's
Yeah, besides that, two things are happening when he's looking at the picture and he sees his real face and Talay's real face. One thing is that it doesn't bother him that they're in different bodies, right? It's not a problem for him. This is why we see their real faces. And the second thing, it's a message for us to let us know, like the viewers, that what he's in love or the way that he's genuine, and that he sees Talay for what he is. Because if he looked at the picture with those loving eyes and we, the viewers, saw Tessa's real face, would be like, oh, he likes his appearance.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it superficial.
Mm-hmm. But he sees Talay's real face and it gives us the impression that he likes his personality, that he's in love with his
it's a soul
real
connection
thing. It's the real person. Real thing. Anyway, and then he proceeds to flirt again. I'm like, oh, Poon, please stop, Poon. Please stop. Oh no, actually continue.
Yeah, when he sat on his lap, I was just like, I feel like as well the picture, this whole idea of let's take a picture for to say thank you or whatever. It's like, dude, you just want to put a picture of him on your phone. Let's be honest right now.
And you want to hug him and flirt with him and Yeah,
and then the bit where he's like, oh, okay, this isn't working. And, we said he's comfortable enough to take a picture with him. It's also, it may not even be that deep. It could also just be that it's like, oh, this is another way that I can get close to him. I can use this. It's a tool to get what he needs.
Yeah, but also when you have someone, you have a picture with someone, you have something that ties you together, you have a memory made together. It's like another pink trumpet tree.
Oh yeah, it's a tangible proof that it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Pidol calls, and we get to the next scene where we find out that Dujang died. Poon is dressed in all black. Talay has black pants and white shirt, and everything is white on the top part of his body. Felt like I needed to mention that. And we get the story, the information about how it happened. She suddenly had a heart attack and died, and she had no prior issues with her heart. So
yeah, and she's if you look on face value, she's probably somewhere anywhere between mid to early 20s, maybe at the most 30, which is very uncommon unless you have heart issues to drop dead from a heart attack.
So what the conclusion is that the other person that inhabited her real body died. And what Vidal says is that symptom has been proved, and that is a normal thing for universal travelers. And then they say no matter how many of them passed, they cannot get used to it.
Yeah.
Here's a little darkness.
It must be that must be what happened. Depending, no matter how the person in their universe, our universe, dies in this alternative universe, they just have a heart attack.
Yeah, but the thing is that why do they die? People don't just die. It means they kill themselves. It means they cannot
not necessarily.
I think for it to be a big thing where it's normal for universal travelers to die, and they die, so many of them die, I think it's because they are in despair. Maybe it's because they found no one. Maybe it's because they are alone, because not so many of them, I don't think a lot of them find these associations.
No. Look, I feel like it's probably there would definitely be a percentage that's what the outcome would be, but you got to factor in the fact that life is fucking hard as well. So it's not going to just be that. Like, you can cross the street and get hit by a truck. So, like, not all of them are going to be because they couldn't deal. And so
yeah, of course, I'm not saying
up.
that all of them, but for it to be a normal thing for universal travelers, there must be a reason.
I think the normal thing could be the fact that, like, that is how they die. So, like, if you have, say there's like 100 universal travelers, and like in the time of like them being in a group, like 20 of them die for whatever reason, but they all die from a heart attack, then that is the normal thing. Like, they're not dying of other things. So, like, if they were to go out and get hit by a truck, well, then you're not going to go, oh, the person in the other universe died.
Zoe, but isn't that weird for, like, 100 people in the other universe to just die accidentally?
No, I didn't say 100. I said 20 out of 100.
For 20 out of 100, for 20 people out of 100 to accidentally die.
Yeah, but I'm using, like, what do you call it? Like, the percentages aren't right. We don't know what the percentages are. But what I'm saying is out of that 20, not all of them would be natural, but they also wouldn't be suicide either.
But I did not say all of them died because of suicide. This is not what I said.
No, but you said for it to be a normal thing, then you were alluding to the fact that...
Yes, I am alluding to the fact that a huge cause must be because they cannot deal anymore and they just decide to end their lives.
I feel like, look, I'm not disagreeing with you entirely, but I just feel like it's not that simple. I feel like if you were to break it down, it would have to be more, and I'm not just talking accidental death, just because they didn't have a history of heart attack or whatever. Who knows, like, what their health was in the other universe? They may have had cancer and not known about it. Like, who the fuck knows? Like,
well, I think considering the thing that what we had before this and the way the main characters are and how they mentioned that, you know, like, Ptale is the light that saved me. This is what they alluded, that maybe a lot of people do not find anyone. They do not find the support system. They do not find the association. They just get thrown into that weird life. And probably this is probably not what happened to the person that, inhabited Jubjang's body, because we have to assume that Jubjang spent a lot of time in this universe, which means that that person who was in her body had a lot of time to settle,
they would have died by natural causes or by an accident.
Yes. So they probably did not kill themselves. I mean, the person that had Jubjang's body. But the other ones, many of them, I think, this is what's for it to be like a big number. I think probably this is what happens to a lot of people.
Well, I think also the fact though that it's a commonality. So, like, if you've got to look at it from the perspective of, like, statistically speaking. Okay, so, like, if you're in a large group of people, and I said 100 because I'm like, I don't know, I just picked that number. Who knows how many people are part of the association? I've got no idea. They haven't actually mentioned it as far as I know. But, like, so if there was, like, however many, let's say 1,000, that makes it a bigger number, right? They come in and out. Some people come and they come a couple of times and then they never come again. But then maybe they'll hear word of mouth that person died, or, like, whatever, like, because maybe they don't come to the association, but they were hanging out with, like, someone who did or whatever. So let's say out of that 1,000 people, like, you know, however many people die. But if every single person dies from a heart attack, the commonality in that isn't that, like, so many all those people died, so it must be, like, a bad thing or whatever. It could just be that the only reason why everyone's going, that's normal, is because that is the way you die if you die in the other universe. Whereas you're not going to pay attention to, like, one person who, you know, like, got hit by a car or whatever. Like, you're looking at the group. The thing that stands out the most is, like, the majority, not the minority in this situation.
So well, the way I interpreted it is the way I interpreted it.
I think they're talking about that's how know when the person died in the other universe. I think we see it differently, but I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Another moment of us disagreeing. This is entertaining.
No, but I feel like it's okay because I think like your reason for, or one of your reasons for thinking this, I think you mentioned that because he says about Tale being his light. See, I don't necessarily put those two things together because his darkness happened before they switched. And I guess I know what you're saying, like not everybody's going to be that lucky to find their light, but at the same time, not everybody was necessarily be like he was, who was already depressed when he went there.
Yeah,
like,
but the worst thing, I mean, yes, he was like that. That imagine someone who was really, for example, happy in their real life and came to a life where they have no one. Or maybe someone who is predisposed, or I don't know. I'm not saying that it was for him, but even with him, he was, he could have been a case like that because when he came to this universe, if he didn't meet Tale, he would have continued down the same road.
But then that's right. But he's predisposed to that. So whereas like Tale wouldn't have gone that route. Like he would have made the effort. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so not everybody...
Well, Tale is special. Not everyone is like Tale. Tale is...
No, but like...
Tale.
No, but you get what I'm saying, though. Like, he's, other people are like him. They might not be just like him. But, like, other people have the grit and the whatever. I mean, the fact that Dole and Zhuzhang were there for so long without getting back... And it's, you think about it from their standpoint as well. All of these people are coming. Some of them die. Some of them go back. Some, and it's like, it makes it sound like, it would be really hard to see all that and then be stuck there yourselves. Like, do you know what I mean? Like they're like witnessing all of this.
Listen,
so that's actually really depressing.
They're witnessing the people who they know, right? Who they see get through the association, and they know what's happening to the people from the association. What about all the other people that do not get into the association?
No, but I'm talking about like they're special because they didn't let the depression or the depressive idea of like these other people succeeding or all these people dying or like whatever get to them in the fact that they're still there. Like, after all this time. Because if you were not a strong person, like, if you got to meet these people and, like, whatever, and then they get to go back, you couldn't help but be like, why do they get to go back and I'm still here? Like, what's wrong? Like, that's a heavy burden to be the spectator of all of that. Like, I get what you're saying, the people that don't get the help and all the rest of it, but I'm talking about, like you're saying Tale is special. Well, yeah, he is, but like there are lots of people there who have, like, for example, Dole and Zhuzhang, who didn't get to go back for whatever reason.
I'm saying not that Tale is special, that he would not get depressed. This is not what I meant. I meant that he has a personality where he tries to do his best no matter the circumstances. Yeah.
Well,
I agree. They are very strong. Like there is a reason why they lead this association, why they created this, because they found their purpose in helping other people get back, or giving them support, or giving them a community. So yeah, of course they're strong. They are
but I guess
impressive personalities.
Just trying to say, like, we can't assume that like every single person who is going over there is necessarily, whether or not because there are also going to be some people who don't want to interact with the people that are in that universe because they're thinking that this is a transient situation, or they're like, they woke up and, as you said, they don't have an association, so they think they're fucking nuts. Like,
but even like every single person, of course, because even with Tale, the association did not really help him. He only felt that like he starting of being afloat, staying afloat when he found Pun.
Yeah.
But it was still something, they gave them hope, that there's hope to get back.
At least he knew he wasn't crazy. Like,
he knew that he wasn't crazy, and he knew there's hope to get back, and there's a way, to get back.
There's a possibility. Yeah. But it's like,
What
But
was
I
the
guess that's
question?
what I was trying to say. I think what I was just trying to say was that they were like this was what I was saying, where that like not everybody would be affected by not necessarily meeting that person or like whatever. You would have some perseverance. But I think what I was going to say was, do we find out, is there like a version of the association in like their world
Do you really want to know?
or like our world? Nah, probably not. I'll wait and see. Like I do want to know, but like, yeah, don't tell me.
Yeah,
It's one of
so
those an episode of Zoe asks questions she doesn't want the answers to.
so Pidol talks about Jubjang and how they were in love with Jubjang, and how Jubjang used to say
we
that
get another lesson of not wasting time.
yeah,
basically.
nothing is certain. Whatever you want to do, just do it now. And that they regretted they did not reveal their feelings to Jubjang, and that Pidol wanted Jubjang to be the portkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a shot from above, which is really nice, and because you see Talay going from Pun's side to Pidol and Pang to comfort them, to give them comfort. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really nice shot actually, where you see them all like there's a community there, even though there's just the four of them.
Yeah, and then after that we get to see a part of the recording again, and Jubjang says, "You're not alone. You know, this is happening for a reason, because we're here to learn something that we're missing." And then we get Talay walking with Pun, and Talay is afraid.
I thought we were gonna get a confession here. I was just like, did he pay attention? Did he listen to the message of like not wasting time?
Well, he just doesn't see it like that. It's not about him loving him. It's not that important to him right now. It's not about that. It's about Pun being safe. It's about Pun leaving. This is what's important to him. It's about him seeing him being alive, and it's about him not being abandoned. So he does act on these fears and desires, because he asks him to stay over and tells him, "I am afraid to miss you, that you disappear. I'm afraid that something will happen to you." And also I want to talk about the color, yellow, because, again, fear and happiness. So it's really interesting in this episode how they are talking about the fact that you must not lose time and just do what you want to do. Because if you think about it, yellow for Talay, right? It's his lesson is basically in this episode, at least. So, and I think it's in the whole series as well, is to embrace the uncertainty and fear, to just let it happen and be happy, just accepting that he cannot control everything, accepting this fear, not trying to escape it.
It's interesting though too, because like as you said, like he's having this moment of fear here where he's like, he doesn't want to be alone and he doesn't want anything to happen to Pun, and then Pun does this thing where he basically says like he promises not to leave him, and which is like kind of ironic considering what's just happened, which proves that like you can't control everything, especially not what's going on in the other universe. So like I'm sure Zhang had no intention of dying when she did, but like she didn't get a choice. So it's interesting that he says this here. Like it's not interesting, but it's like it's just so much like I'm like
they waste like empty words basically right now, right?
Yeah. And then he basically, like, he's because he promises. It's like empty promises, yeah. And then he says, which just like the irony of this, where he says, "Someone like me doesn't die so easily." And now, okay, you can look at this from two ways. The first is the once again, the irony of it made me laugh, because I'm just like, dude, you literally came to this universe by dying.
But maybe because he wanted to die and he didn't.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And then you look at it from his perspective, whereas like his intention we assume to die, and he didn't. So like he's like, oh, I'm unkillable. That's like that's his interpretation of events.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's one of those things that kind of reminded me, like it gave me this feeling of like the moment in Not Me where Sean says to White about like how he's the reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, on the rooftop in episode 9.
Why?
I don't know. It was just this impression that I got, because it's like his person. It's like his whole bit where he says, like earlier on we get the bit where he says about him being the light, and then it's like he has no intention. Like he I guess not so much. It's not what he says. It just gave me the same vibe as that. So like, you know, in Not Me, Sean says the words. Do you remember what the exact quote is? I cannot. My brain will not rattle it out for me.
This is the reason that keeps me alive, and you are too.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. So like the essence of that scene, which is amazing, by the way. If you haven't seen Not Me, go watch it. Will Not Me plug there. Is
and listen to our podcast for Not Me.
What I'm saying about why this gave me this like impression, I guess, is because this is somebody who, as I said, where it's heavily implied that he tried to kill himself in his previous life, whereas here he is,
or at least that version, he didn't care if he died.
Yeah, he was irresponsible with his life, essentially. And so, and like we have in this part where he is like
promising,
saying,
I won't go anywhere,
promising not to go anywhere,
nothing will happen to me.
That's right, I can't die easily. So he's basically saying, like, I want to live in this moment, and so it heavily gave me that vibe of that, you know.
Oh, because Talay is the reason. Because Talay is the light that saved him.
Yeah. That's so it gave me that vibe, like the same kind of sentiment, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say something else. What was I gonna say? Oh, I hate it when this happens.
Oh, and then he says the thing that he wants to do most, like he, because we had this thing of just do what you want to do, don't lose time. He says the thing that he wants to do most now is sleep while hugging Talay.
Oh, because we get this bit where he hugs him already, which was really, really sweet before when he starts talking, and then we have that. But when he's saying the words he's saying, like where he's like, oh, I, you know, promise I won't go anywhere, and, you know, like, I'm not so easy to kill, and blah, 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 whatever he's saying, die, whatever. There's, like, so much borrowing trouble here. Given that, as I said, once again, in the previous scene was illustrative of the fact that they have very little control of their destinies, except for, like, making their own choices in that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they can only make the choices and live in the moment that they're doing with, like, no fear and no regret, which is kind of where Talay. The thing that I just realized, which is, as I said, once again, I'm bringing this up, and I know you're going to hate me for it, but it suddenly occurred to me, and it's very interesting, that we can look at it from the standpoint of, you know, they switched bodies, lives, whatever, because they needed to, because they had issues or, like, whatever. But, like, it's like the troublemakers in this scenario, I'm going to put it this way, the troublemakers in this scenario very much seem like Poon and Tess. Like, it's almost like they pulled Talay and Tun through. Like, obviously Talay needed to learn lessons, and so did Tun. But, like, if you look at, like, the problem, like, the more problematic aspects of it, the more self-destructive, let's put it that way, aspects of it, it was definitely Tess and Poon who were, like, it's like yanked the other ones through kind of thing. Like, it just occurred to me that that's kind of, and so there was some irony in the fact that Pun is now like, I'm not going to go anywhere, I'm going to do this. So he's now being stoic about it, but he doesn't, as we were saying before, it's like empty, because you can't promise that in this situation. Well, you can't promise that in any situation.
But at least what he promises, what he can control is, because Tess is afraid that he will be left alone. Well, what we can take from here is that even though he cannot control the circumstances, what he can control is his desires and the way his attitude.
His intention.
Yes, because now he doesn't want to leave. Yeah. It's a promise that I won't leave you. If I do, it's not because I want to. I would never leave you. I want to leave and I want to be with you.
Which is interesting given the perspective that he doesn't want to go back and Tale does.
Yeah. And for Tale, this episode is about not running away from his fears, but facing them. Even if something is inevitable, just being brave. Yeah. This is actually it's kind of a Tale episode mostly, right? Yeah. This one.
He's that's what I'm saying. Like he is learning faster. This episode for him is very much, oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very much based and branded in like what factual stuff that's happening. Like he's paying attention. He's being very real about everything. He's honest. Not shying away from like
honest with himself. Ugly. He's starting to be honest with himself.
Yeah. And also he's seeing like the fact that, like he's calling a spade a spade. He's not arguing that the sky isn't blue or like whatever. Like he is seeing things as they are, right? Whereas Pun is still very much like in the make believe, in the play acting almost of it all. Like it's like he's playing a character and this world isn't real. Which is like essentially what's happening, but like like he's not seeing the same reality that Tale is seeing,
or not
like
yet.
That's for sure. Yeah, not yet. Like that's what I'm saying. They're on different levels. They're on different trajectories.
He hasn't had something that to shake him, to make him face reality. Yeah,
and it's so funny because if you watch the two of them, although Tale always seems considering and everything, it's Pun who always seems observing. But I think the problem is with Pun is he's observing Tale and not like the entire like he's not seeing the big picture necessarily. Like he's not observing the big picture, whereas Tale is looking at everything from all the angles.
Yeah, he's very analytical.
Yeah, but
and Pun is emotional again.
Yeah. I have to say 2 more words, and then I really don't have anything else to say for this episode. The spooning.
Oh, really cute.
It was very cute.
Yeah.
It was very cute.
Oh, and did you notice there was a lot of blue in the last scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, and it goes back to the mention of it being a very much Tale episode. I associate Tale with now, especially with 2 colors, with blue and with yellow. Yellow is for his fear, and blue is for his sadness and loneliness. His loneliness mostly.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I feel,
and it's funny because Tale means sea, and blue and yellow sand, and. I don't know if it means anything, but I just have this image in my head now that I mentioned blue and yellow, a sea and a beach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like
an island.
I feel like, to me, I associate lots of colors with him. He is in fact.
Oh my god! Really... An island surrounded by water, yellow fear surrounded by loneliness.
The thing that's really interesting for me about these 2 characters is you have Tale. I
have a question before you remind me to ask the question, please.
Okay. Where the color, like he's such a colorful person, but he's not a colorful person. If that makes any sense. whereas Pun is not a colourful person, but is really a colourful person.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean when I'm trying to say that? Like,
Pun is like the if it goes to colors, Pun is the black hole, and Talay is all the stars that give all the colors and all the spectrums.
Yeah, but it's like personality wise, Talay is not necessarily that colourful. Like whereas Pun is. But like in terms of like visually, like the way they
Talay sees the colors, Pun is the colors.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's one way to look at it. The other thing that I like about this, or that I've been noticing about this, so you were talking about how you've noticed there's a lot of yellow and blue with Talay, like in clothes or like whatever, but I mean, I don't know. I haven't noticed. I mean, yes, he wears blue a lot, but he does wear a lot of colors.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Pun very rarely wears colors, and if he does wear color, it's like right at the end of the spectrum of that color. So it'll be like, the color might be orange or like whatever, but he'll be wearing like beige. Or
that's always.
He wears a black. No, not always, but like quite often when it's a color episode and they're wearing the colors.
I think it's because he's like mirroring or like an echo to Talay, echoing Talay's colors.
I think it's meant to represent this whole idea of like loneliness and depression, I think, because we're saying like how Talay is bringing color to his life, and we do see that, but like him on his person, it's very rare to see like really super bright colors. Like he is not the one wearing the magenta shirt, let's say, or like whatever, like that's always Talay, or the royal blue, or the whatever.
No, he did wear that magenta shirt.
Sorry?
He did wear a magenta shirt in episode 4. But yeah, it was a one-time thing. Like he kind of yeah.
And that was the pink episode, right? Wasn't it? Like the love episode.
I think Falling in Love episode 4.
Yeah,
I think
so. It makes sense for it to pop out.
No,
there.
I think it was the magenta, or wasn't the pink episode. I'm confused. I don't remember. We need to make a list.
No, but it was in that set of stories, so it makes sense for it to have popped out there, if that makes any sense. But in general, you'll see Talay wearing like really representing the color, and it's not the same for Talay. So whether or not that will change in the future, I don't know. But that's what I have noticed about their colors. So, and what were you going to say?
What do you
think? Your question?
What do you think? Besides obviously black, what else can Pun's color be? I feel like it's the second one. If we were to give 2 colors to each one of them, like from my point of view, Talay is blue and yellow, and Pun in this story, if you take the whole story, although you haven't seen it,
I think
until the end,
black and brown.
You do?
Like variations of brown.
I think
like
it's
beige, rust.
Why?
Like variations of brown. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's often represented wearing those colors.
I think
if I'm talking about visually, like what they're dressing them in, I definitely think it's like black and brown.
Well, I wouldn't say that visually blue and yellow really represent Talay, because as you said, also he wears lots of colors.
If you're from my point of view, personality, or like just like the colors that you're associating with them,
everything.
I don't know. When I think about Pun, probably just mostly black.
I have another one.
What's the other color?
I have a second one. Pink.
Oh, pink, of course, pink.
Because, pink is for both of them. Obviously, it's for their love. But considering the fact that Talay becomes his life, it's also his second color, pink. Because his love for Talay is what gives him will to live.
Yeah, pink makes sense as well for him, though, anyway, because it's really the only thing he's being honest about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, you're so right. His feelings.
Everything else is like a facade, but his feelings. So the colors don't matter, and that could also be why they're muted, because the colors don't matter for him in that way. But the love is true, and that's why we got the magenta. Yeah. You got that burst of color in the pink range.
This is really interesting the way they did it with the colors. I really like these conversations. I don't know if it's based on anything. It's just us theorizing, and it's not.
Yeah. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's studied colors who would have a much better understanding about this, and also probably isn't listening to this podcast. But if there is, and you're screaming at us, please scream at us on social media, because we
want to hear it.
Are we wrong? Yeah, are we wrong? Do you have a different theory? Because that is obviously, we find it fascinating. We're finding it interesting. So. If someone else has a different theory that we can discuss, we're totally down for that. Otherwise, it's just however many hours of us rambling about the yellow and the blue of it, and the pink of it. But pink. You're definitely right. It's definitely black and pink. I feel like it's the darkness, but his truth.
It's the darkness of him not wanting to leave, and the other thing that makes him want to leave.
Yeah, the thing that makes me want to live. Yeah. it's the not me vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so.
And for Talay is the loneliness and his fear that stops him from not being lonely.
Yeah. And it's funny too as well, because you do see pink. I do see pink for him as well, because it just keeps creeping in. So what I wanted to say to you is that, because I know you're going to love this. Well, I feel like you were going to love this anyway. Two things I'm going to say. First one is, wow, we're halfway. We're at the halfway point right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe it, because when we first started talking about this, we were kind of wow, this is going to take us forever to do this because of the format that we chose, to switch out with Not Me, a week on, a week off sort of thing. But yeah, we're at the halfway point. We haven't quite reached that for Not Me yet, because there's slightly more episodes, but we are definitely at the halfway point for Vice Versa, which is fascinating to me. I'm how did we get here? And not in a bad way, but Yeah. And then the other thing I want to say, I really enjoyed this episode. Both watching it and also talking about it. But I also wanted to tell you that I actually think that this is a really good show. I can't believe how underrated it is, and I can't believe I was I know if you put this podcast right next
finally
to podcast.
Do you remember me saying it gets better on rewatch? Do you believe me?
I haven't seen it.
And this is the first time you like it, and then when you rewatch it, believe me, you're going to love it even more.
You're so funny. But you get what I'm saying, though? I feel like it's probably one of those shows. I think the issue with it is it's one of those things where, sometimes there's too much information, too different, too whatever. Sometimes you'll pick up a book or something and it's too wordy. You try and read it and you just oh, did this person use a thesaurus to write this book or what? Were they just, they didn't sit down and write a story. They went, no, what's the best word for danger? And they looked it up and found a bunch of synonyms. And, anytime they wanted to say dangerous, they and I keep saying dangerous because I can literally see my Dangerous Romance DVD is right in front of me. But so they anytime in the story they want to say dangerous, the author, anytime they wanted to say dangerous in the story, they've come up with a different word for it. And so you try and read it and you're just what is this rot that I'm reading? And then if you get past that, where they actually get into the story, if you can manage to persevere, or sometimes it's not even that it's heavy with wordy. It's maybe the world building.
Yes, so many names, so many.
It's just
things happening.
I need to tell you that. Yeah, I need to tell you that in this world, everybody pees standing up, and I'm going to describe to you in excruciating detail why and how this happens, and you get, and it's they could have told you that in a chapter, but there's 20 chapters about it. You just, and so you throw the book at the wall, or you persevere and you get to the story and it's wow, this is the best book I've ever read, because the story is amazing. Once you understand the way the world is and all the rest of it, and why it's important people are peeing standing up. Or whatever, like it all makes sense to you, all the bits drop, you can really enjoy it. I feel like on face value, probably what happened with a lot of people with this show who didn't like it or dropped it or like whatever was there would have been a couple of different things. The first one, I feel like some people would have been a bit PO'd that, I don't know why I'm censoring myself. I literally said fuck a little while ago and now I'm doing PO instead of pissed off. Some people would have been pissed off because they were a untried ship couple getting a whole ass drama to themselves, which, let's face it, they proved overly that they definitely deserved it.
Yeah.
But like people who didn't know them or who were fans of a different ship or like whatever may have just boycotted it just for that that reason alone, right? So you would have lost a bunch of people who wouldn't even have considered watching it for that reason alone. Then you've got the casual BL watchers who don't really ship or don't really care or like they just watch stuff because it's fun. And maybe they tried it, but it was just the first few episodes, which are like the first couple that I saw, and I feel like, you know, maybe up until at least the first two anyway, there's a lot. It's a lot in some places, you know what I mean? And it's not always...
And you don't think that it's going to mean something. You don't think that you need this information.
That's right. And so it's like, it's like wordy. We'll use it. Like, I mean, it's not, but like use that as an example. And so like, it's like those chapters you need to get through to get to the meat of the story to understand why are they telling us all this? Why we need to know this? Why do we need to understand? Why is there all these stupid things like the kugel and the transparent paper and the like the other silly things, and like why does the association exist? Why are they pulling things in? I mean, there's definitely things they could have taken out of it to stop that from happening, like the password stuff from like the other universe. Like there are certain things where they would, you know, tying in the book series and stuff like that together to like as like a nod to other shows, and if they had taken some of that out, maybe that would have lightened it a little bit. I'm sure they kept it in thinking it would encourage other people to watch it or like feel like inspire nostalgia or like whatever, but for me it didn't work.
Worked against
it. So
it.
I feel like it's that sort of thing, and like there's a few other bits and pieces that when I was watching it I was like and we probably did talk about a few of them where I probably said, I don't like this, or I like whatever.
Because even with the gun thing, remember, I was like, I started not liking that episode because it felt weird to me, because it felt like they were trying to
enforce something.
Use my nostalgia, use it against me, and like get me hooked or something. Yeah, and manipulate me into liking it, and I did like that.
Yes. No, that's right. And like people who are analytical about things, like us, we're like, you know, the way we are when we're watching this sort of stuff, like we don't like to be hand fed. We don't like people to necessarily like lead us in a direction. We want to kind of get there ourselves. And so that kind of can be a bit offensive, or it can be a bit like in your face. And so I feel like the main problem with this show, besides, as I said, them being an untried ship couple that probably put a lot of people off or like angered a lot of people,
or the people who wanted to see Om and Nanon, and there weren't a lot of Om and Nanon in this series.
That's right. They would have lost a lot of people who were coming straight off Bad Buddy and were like, "Ooh, they're also in this," and they're really not. Yeah. And you also would have, as I said, just other people who were like, "Oh, this should be," you know. I mean, there was so much of it online with Not Me. Like there were people who were like, "Oh, Bright and Win would have done a better job," or like, I can't think of who else was a big ship at the time. I'm not like targeting them. They're just the one that they were another one that was like. Together was just out just a bit before that, and you know, like, so there were certain ships where they were like, oh, they would have done better, or they like, or like even problem with Om and Nanon, that people were probably thinking they should have been playing the Tale Poon characters, and then, you know, Z and Jimmy should have been playing the Tess and Ton characters. Like that's probably how some of the viewers may have like interpreted it or whatever. So you would have lost people because of that, which is a shame, because you just got to give it a go, you know. And then the other issue that it had working against it was, as you said, the tricky nostalgic stuff, and then the fact that it was so heavy in some spots where it was clunky. Clunky is probably the best way to put it. And so, like, but you had to get through that. Like, you had to get through that to get to, like, the meat and potatoes of it, where it's like, okay, this is really interesting and, like, fun and intriguing and, you know, like, and
well
it's a
thought
shame.
and insightful and...
Yeah. It's a shame because it's actually very up and, like, from my perspective to now anyway, this is my point of view right now. It's funny because I'm so curious to know what my perspective's going to be at the end, because I've gone for like, nah, I really didn't like this show. It was super boring. I slept through it. To this is a really good fucking show. It's very interesting. It's very engaging. And it's a shame that people haven't seen it or won't watch it, or one of the many, like, reasons that I mentioned just before. But it's like, and it's a shame. Like, people should watch this show. It's definitely worth it. I'm at the point now where, and as I said, you've seen the end, I haven't seen the end. I don't know that I'm going to like it. I know you do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I will. Although we're pretty similar, so I probably will. But, like, there'll probably be things that I don't like, and then we'll argue about it.
Oh, that's fine.
And that's fine. But to me, it's leaps and bounds above Last Twilight at this point in time, which is the only thing I can compare it to, because that's the only other drama that I've seen that they're in. And it's not an acting thing or whatever, because I think they both did a really good job in that. It's just storyline consistency, interest, like, everything that's the world building. If they stick to, like, what they're showing us, if they keep the truths true, if they're not misleading, if they're not, like, whatever, I can't see that my opinion on this won't only get more positive. So I'm very curious to know, like, as we move forward. I'm excited. Like, I saw the trailer, because I can't help it. I'm a whore. I had to watch the trailer for next episode. And I was like, ooh, 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 ooh. So I'm, like, super eager to watch episode 7. Looking forward to it. And so, but I did not think that would be, at episode 6, that would be my standpoint. I honestly went into this thinking that I was going to be so fucking bored, and that I would have to phone it in a little bit.
Look at you. How dare you? Like, you were like, oh, let's make this podcast.
But you were excited, and I'm a good friend. And look, I'm being honest. I knew
it. I just knew you would start loving it, because there's no way you wouldn't.
And so, and I'm being very, like, what do you call it? Self-reflective in saying, this is how I feel. Yes, you're right. Are you happy now? But
I knew I was right. Nothing is changing, really. But it is a bit satisfying.
No one pressed your buzzer.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But, like,
go on.
No, it's funny because
say nice things.
I reserve the right to change my mind. So we'll see what happens.
But it's exciting because, Last Twilight broke both of us. Remember what I told you? That this one healed me after Last Twilight.
Yeah. I feel like that is accurate. Yeah.
And it's nice because, you're at episode 6 and now you are hopeful. You're looking forward, because after Last Twilight, it was like, oh, this is disappointing and I shouldn't have trusted this show. But now what you're saying is that you kind of trust it. Like, of course it might disappoint you, but you trust that it's maybe will end up being something good.
Yeah. I'm expecting it to hurt me. Like, I'm expecting this show to hurt me. Like, I'm not going in, but not in the way that Last Twilight did. Like, I'm going into this expecting
how there's hurts so good and there's hurts bad. Last Twilight was hurt bad.
Last Twilight was a traumatic experience for both of us. Like, I was a bit worried about us and our podcast, honestly, because we were so tight in our conviction, and it's not even about being right. Like, I had this conversation with someone that I work with, and it wasn't really about the podcast specifically, but we were talking about stuff and about being disillusioned and, you know, like whatever else. And I sort of said, you know, like when you pre-form ideas, you have expectations, and we totally did that, right? So, but that accounts for some disappointment. Like that's normal, right? Like, or not even like disappointment, but like self-deprecating. Like, I feel like we're, and people, I hope our listeners would agree with it. Like, I mean, I just did a whole spiel where I was like, I was wrong. Like we're mature enough to be like, we're not always going to be right. Come at us, like argue with us. We want to know, like, we know we're not right. We just, we have ideas and theories, and they may not always pan out, especially like when you're watching a show that you don't know what's going to happen. Like we go into that with that understanding. And it wasn't even about being wrong.
Just if you remember us watching Cooking Grass, we were wrong about everything.
Oh yeah, and like it was like whatever. It didn't affect us. It didn't affect the show, like how we felt about the show, what we liked, what we didn't like. It was, but I feel like, and it's not even about us being wrong. It was like the show was wrong. Like, and I feel like that sounds really arrogant, but it was so traumatic that I can't put it any other way. But with this, I fully expect it to hurt me, because I expect something traumatic to happen in the show to the characters. Like there has to be, there's always like what do they call it? The 11th act or whatever, but not disappoint me. Like, so now I have the confidence to know that it's a good show, if that makes any sense, or at least I'm pretty sure. And you told me that. You told me it was a good show, and I trust you. So that's not it wasn't that I didn't trust you or anything, but I went into this with some preconceived notions about what I was walking into because of my previous experience of it, and that probably was tainted by Last Twilight, by just having watched Last Twilight. So this, and it's such a shame because I loved Jimmy and C's acting in Last Twilight. I think they did an amazing job. I think the first 3/4 of the show were amazing, and I really thought that they were trying to create something, like the GMM was trying to create something that had real message, and they had something really important to say, and it turned out they were just making a drama. So that's my bad. I was expecting too much. But it also, although I was still super eager to see them in other stuff future wise, I was a little bit afraid because what I had in my let's say Jimmy C history baggage was I'd tried Vice Versa, didn't like it, was traumatized by Last Twilight, and I was just like, it's getting worse as we're going along. What's going to happen with the next one? Do I dare to watch it? And it has nothing to do with Jimmy C, which is the sad part. That was the thing that was upsetting, because I legitimately think that they're really talented. And you know me, I love Jimmy. I'm really soft for him. He's such a cutie pie. Not saying that C's not, but we all have our soft spots. But this has actually instilled my faith. I feel really excited again now to see them in something new. And I don't feel scared.
This is great.
I mean, it will depend on the writer and the directors involved, but at this point in time, I feel super positive. So I'm actually really bummed that they didn't get something in the last offerings of things that we were told. That being said, I think there were a few things that got made that I don't remember seeing during the during the pilot shows last year, but maybe I just blocked them out because
they certainly will get something in the future, and for now you can just go and watch the music video for Flirting Syndrome with new eyes, maybe.
Yeah, or and also
maybe rewatch Vice Versa and see how things change. But maybe you should things will change, the way you perceive it will change the more you watch until the end. But even now things will look different. You'll perceive them differently, and you will notice some stuff.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I'm now looking forward in a way that, and this isn't something that's just magically happened with episode 6. Like, I mean, episode 6 was a good episode, but like it's been a gradual development. But I'm now looking forward, like, with a much lighter heart, if that makes any sense. And I don't know that I'll ever be able to watch Last Twilight again, but I'm positive about, like, I feel like this is something I will definitely watch again. I'm probably not straight away because I tend not to. Like, we're pulling it apart so much. We're so we're so deep diving in it that, like, I'll need some time to, like, some distance.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like, I kind of feel a little bit like as we're doing these podcasts that the further we get along, like, at the end of each one, it's almost like we're breaking up with the show. Like, it's like, I love you, but maybe not. Breaking up is a bad analogy. Maybe it's a bit like family. I love you, but I really don't want to see you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. We
like,
spend
you know, like,
so much time with it.
Yeah,
we know it too well.
It's like, especially as adults, like when you go on like a vacation with your parents, or like for me, like we haven't done it for a while, but we have this habit of like hiring a houseboat and going, like, my mum and my dad and my sister and her partner will go like for a week or something, and you're basically trapped. Like, you're trapped on a boat with each other, and we're very close family. We love each other, but like at the end of those 7 days, like, it's like, oh, we had a great time. Yeah, see you later. And oh my god, thank God that's over. Like, it's, I love you, but I don't want to see you for a good, like, 6 to 7, working days, or at least 2 weeks. Like, don't call me for 2 weeks. And it's kind of a little bit like that when we finish a podcast, because we're so deep in it. We're so connected to it.
But it might not be like this with vice versa, Zoe, because as far as I know, you've only watched it that time when you tried to watch it and it did not work, and then now, and you did not rewatch anything.
No,
so it
but
might
I
be easier
didn't
to rewatch this one, actually, for you, at least.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, it could be, but I feel like
depends.
maybe, I think I'll still need some time and some distance, but I definitely feel like at the moment there's definitely bits that I'm already like, oh, I will go rewatch this. Like, I will watch this again. And as I said, unless something dramatically happens that like hits me in my ouch place, where I like, or my no place, where I'm just like, oh no, that's I can't deal. Like, unless it's something like that, then I can't imagine it being a show that, leads me astray in a way that others have. But yeah, so I'm very excited. This is a really long way for me basically to say that I'm enjoying this. You were right. It was a good choice to do this. I'm glad I suggested it. I'm so wise.
It makes me really happy to hear that. I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
Yeah. So that was my main intention, was to make Morella happy. So sorry I got very rambly at the end there, guys. If you're still with us.
So I was trying to heal my Last Twilight trauma.
Yeah. I feel like if you're still with us, you deserve a cookie. Go have a cookie or something else to eat, because like you deserve it. Pat on the back for hanging around for this like extra long ramble. And R.I.P. Morella, who has to like.
It'll be fine. It's good. You said good things. I will listen to them.
In like double speed.
Okay, so
anyway.
I guess this is it. Thank you for hanging out with us. Share the podcast with people who you think might be interested. We have a Ko-Fi if you want to donate. And bye-bye for now.
Bye.